so embarrassed to be in this country. Okay. Why does God is the volume loud? Hold on, let me pin the goal. Thank you. Thank you for the gift. And that also remind me I need to pin the goal. Make sure the gift goal is live. I just did the super chat goal. So I'm just going through all this. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just going through my checklist of things I always forget. I am trying to get to 350 subscriptions on TikTok today. Please subscribe. Does it feel like I'm closer to the screen? I feel like I'm closer than I usually am. Hold on. Sorry. I always just feel like my camera adjusted. So, oh, yeah. Don't you worry, Juju Bug. We're about to get way into it. That's exactly, I mean, that is classic malignant narcissist idiot has meltdown in public. It reminds me of when my mom used to like yell at workers at a grocery store that would just be like, why are you screaming at me? Literally, like how embarrassing. Oh, it's about to be. I know. I have a whole, listen, I have two shows. I have the show I made before, and then I have like the shit show that we're about to watch. So yeah, I could probably be live with information till tomorrow if we wanted to. Like this is and it would all be interesting and also embarrassing for us as American people. Ben Dowd Arrow mentioned me in a comment. That's nice. I can die now. I love him. I love when smart people know who I am. Makes me just feel extra cool. Hey, Johnny on YouTube. Thanks for joining. Oh, wait, hold on. Give me a second. Actually, I thought I was live on Twitch, but maybe not. Give me one more second to figure this out. Y'all tap the screen on TikTok. Let's get to 50K. I feel it. We can get to 800,000K today. We have a lot to go through, a lot to learn, a lot. We're going to watch a narcissist have a public meltdown and then watch sycophants try to act like, man, this is probably what we really should be doing is having psychiatrists like do commentary and just explain to us what's going on. That would probably. Oh, here we go. Okay, I can see Twitch now. We are live. For a second I thought we weren't. Let me refresh. We are live on Twitch. Okay, perfect. Hi, hey y'all. I missed you guys. So sorry. I know I've been around for 2 days. Well, I did debate last night with Pickles for a bit, but then he was having internet issues. But yeah, just to let you guys know, on Wednesday, I spent the whole day at animal control trying to I don't know what I was doing, trying to be like, oh, I wasn't bit by a dog. And they're like, we have pictures of your legs. And I'm like, well, I don't think the dog should be in trouble for it. Which I think basically in Arizona, which they wouldn't give me much information about the dog or the history. But as long as that's the first time the dog ever bit someone, I think he will be okay. If it's not, he might not be okay, but it's really not up to me. And they're like, I was like, no, he barely bit me. They're like, the police took pictures of your legs. And I was like, oh, okay, well, but I was like, look at my legs now. They're all healed. Everything's fine. I was like, you should blame the owner. And they're like, yeah, that's part of it. They're in trouble. So that's what I was doing on Wednesday. And then Thursday, my dad did a whole other oh, I haven't taken my insulin for 3 days and now we're going to have, or I've been secretly eating buckets of sugar. Who knows, one or the other. And we're going to have a medical emergency in the morning. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing in case anyone missed me. But I was live last night with Pickles for a while. If you want to watch the debates, they are available on YouTube. I think we only really had one good one before it kind of turned into an absolute S show. But yeah, when I'm not with you guys, it's never because I don't want to be. It's just because, I have to pretend, I have to do real life things occasionally. If I could just live on the internet with you guys all the time, that would be what I would prefer. And also, if you guys are not in the Discord, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you're watching from, a link in my bio. To Linktree, you can join the Discord. Do that because when I'm really busy and like my dad decides to stop taking his insulin and I'm having a meltdown, like that, like if like information, like last night when I decided to go live with Pickles last minute, like I just put that in the Discord. So if you want like the real time updates, or this morning when the Zelensky embarrassing old orange piece of leather narcissist decided to literally, and people think that was spontaneous, that was a setup attack. That is, like, as someone who worked in advertising, I've never seen a more coordinated, very obviously coordinated media shit show in my life. Like, all of that was planned. And imagine if you planned that and those are the people you invited. The dumbest people in the world you invited to attack Zelensky, and then like he won still, and you planned the whole thing out. Like right now there are orchestrated media appearances, like right now there are orchestrated media appearances. Like all of these senators knew they had call times. All of these Republican Trump sycophants had previously scheduled call times on Fox News. This was so obviously, this is the most planned thing I've ever seen in my life, and still they couldn't do it right. Like, how embarrassing. And the only person that wins in that shit show is Putin. So great job. Like, absolutely great job. The best part was when Margaret's boyfriend, like in the ugliest, cheapest suit I've ever seen, said, "Why don't you wear a suit?" And Zelensky's like, "Ooh, like yours?" Like, that was the best moment I've ever had in my life. Like, you weirdo, like, don't speak to me. Do you guys know? I don't know if you know, like, Zelensky prior to being involved in politics is a very successful, he was like in entertainment. Like, he has hundreds of millions of dollars before being involved in politics. Like, if he wants to wear a nice suit, and like he said, it would be much nicer than Margarine's boyfriend's suit. Like, don't worry, he can afford a goddamn suit. Brian Glenn, you look like Trump. You're drowning in a suit. You look like the 1982 called, and they would like that disgusting blue suit back. How dare you, sir? How dare you? It's so like I've never been more embarrassed in my life to be an American than right now. Like I think I might be in fight or flight. Like I can't even believe, and you can tell, and trust me, I have a whole presentation on this, but you can just tell by the way people are reacting in the media, other than the Republicans, who this was very clearly all planned and orchestrated. They all have media call times. They all have a script. Like I've never, and I would say I don't hate Lindsey Graham because I think he's pathetic, right? Like Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina is a pathetic lapdog. He always was. But he used to be John McCain's lapdog, right? And John McCain's from Arizona, where I was born. And like, I don't agree with a lot of John McCain's politics, but John McCain is a goddamn war hero. And like in Arizona, we talk about him with respect. And Lindsey Graham used to follow John McCain around like a little puppy dog and agree with everything he said. John McCain is disgusted with you, Lindsey Graham. He is rolling over in his grave, disgusted with you as a human being. Like, people will never forgive you, Lindsey Graham, for the lies you are telling in the media right now. Like, I can't even deal with it. And the 24-hour gaslighting, and it just proves we all know they all have something on Lindsey Graham, and I'm sure we all think we know what it might be. But man, did Trump turn the screws on Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham used to support Ukraine and Zelensky. He is Well, Instagram's lost its mind, and so have a lot of people. Like, you could pretty much tell who's being blackmailed right now, and it is Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is tap dancing on Fox News. That's why I'm a little bit late. I was like, I could not believe what I was effing seeing. I just had to make sure I screen recorded all of the shit so I could show you guys. Trust me, we're starting late, but we will be richer for the experience. Okay, tap the screen, share the live. You can see I'm trying to get to 350 subscriptions on TikTok today. Oh, I need to make sure. Remind me to update the gift goal too. I'm trying to practice being better with like indexing in the algorithm and things of that nature. Okay, so let's get this party started. I feel like Black Friday again. Trump is so God. This is the most embarrassing. I'm so embarrassed of this. I never even post on. I mean, I do post on X sometimes, but now it's like the only time I post on X is when I'm very mad at Trump, pretty much. And I was just when you think Trump cannot get any dumber or more embarrassing, but wait, there's more. Trump is attacking Zelensky, which again, if you think this is just on the fly, which I feel like right wing media is trying to be like, look at our brave president standing up for us, then you don't understand how the media works. You don't understand how advertising works. You don't understand how marketing works. This was all planned. This was the most scripted shit I've ever seen in my life. Thanks, Meg, for subscribing. You're amazing. 280. We're almost to 350. We can do it. Let's get to 50K too. Most important is everyone tap the screen. But I'll just show you the few clips and you can watch. C-SPAN has like pretty much the whole, well, it was being live streamed, but they usually, I think they have the whole interaction and if you want to watch all of it, but I have most of it clipped. Oopsie. Okay, good. Sorry, I'm muted.
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? That doesn't work that way.
Oh, no, dummy. And I'm literally going to call Trump dummy for the rest of my life. And I would never call, like, truly, no. What we would like you to say, because it's like he thinks he's doing something here, is the truth. Because if you weren't a coward, right? If you hadn't been cultivated by Russia as an asset since the early 80s, which don't believe me, believe the KGB agents that have defected to the United States and testified to it. You could just look this up, right? What a normal person would do was say the truth, which is Putin is a war criminal. Putin is a pathological liar, right? Not to say the United States hasn't made any mistakes when it comes to Ukraine or whatever. Like, you can be critical of how the Ukraine war was managed. I'm not saying there's not things to be critical about. Oh, cute. Thank you so much. I love that bow. I love a bow or a headband or anything. But anyways, yeah, like we'd like you to not be a coward and a Putin sycophant, and we'd like you to say the truth, but that's lost on Trump.
It doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand.
And again, all Zelensky did was calmly state facts. Say, this is what happened. You're not telling the truth about the timeline of events and the facts. You're lying. And oh, wait, I should give some backstory. And we were going to go over this. Well, I can't stand playing clip after clip of Trump anymore lying, but this started, right? First, it started on Monday with Macron, right? The president of France showed up to try, because this is all about greasing the wheels for Zelensky, right? Everyone is trying to make. I was just talking about you, Ben. I was saying how much I like you, your brain. I love your brain. But yeah, Monday, the president of France shows up to try to grease the wheels for Zelensky. And what did Trump do? Lied in the Oval Office. And Macron literally had to be like, hey, what you're saying isn't true. Like, Trump is so delusional and so used to MAGA sycophants and his new, American state media press corps that doesn't fact check him, that he thinks he can sit next to presidents from other countries, pathologically lie, and they're not going to say, yeah, you're not saying the truth. So first on Monday, Macron had to be like, no, what you're saying isn't true publicly. Then Keir Starmer, the from Britain, had to do the same thing yesterday. Had to be like, no, you're lying about Ukraine. That what you're saying isn't true, right? First, Trump tried to say we've spent way more than Europe, given way more money to Ukraine, and Macron had to be like, no, you haven't. Please stop. Stop lying while I'm sitting next to you. It's very uncomfortable. And then with Keir Starmer, he's trying to say, well, they all did a loan. They're getting all their money back. And he's like, no, we aren't. Like, to stop saying that. Why are you saying this? It's the same deal we have. Some of what we gave to Ukraine is a loan and some isn't. But mainly, we're just arms dealers who are feeding our war machine by giving them old war equipment. So, but anyway, so that's why they came here to sort of grease the wheels for Zelensky, to help this deal go through, to help get the truth out there. And you would think after two presidents show up, correct the record, call Trump out publicly and be like, hey, please stop lying. Actually, let me show you this clip because I can't bear anymore to just watch Trump pathologically lie. But one of the things I was going to show you today is Lawrence O'Donnell did this piece and just was like, how Lawrence O'Donnell is. If you don't watch Lawrence O'Donnell on MSNBC, he's covered every single president since Nixon. He is an absolute genius, and his show is a masterpiece. Highly, highly recommend. And he ripped Trump to shreds for lying in front of Macron and Starmer. Here, let me find the clip. Give me 1 second. There's nothing better than a Lawrence O'Donnell, embarrassing Trump clip. Oh, there it is. Hold on. And again, all of my outlines, all of these clips are available in the Discord in the live sources section. I've literally made 2 shows today since all this is happening in real time, but I'll show you. But again, so just to illustrate my point of Trump's been lying all week in front of presidents and carrying water for Putin. He is literally a Russian asset at this point, and Republicans should be ashamed of themselves. They are the most precious asset of Russia now.
Was humiliated once again today in the Oval Office, sitting in exactly the same chair where he was humiliated in exactly the same way in this same week on Monday. Donald Trump made history on Monday by being the first president of the United States to lie publicly about America's oldest ally, France, with the president of France sitting right beside him. That created the historic humiliation touch seen around the world. President Emmanuel Macron of France actually reached across to put his hand on Donald Trump to stop Donald Trump from lying about France. Donald Trump said that Europe contributed less aid to Ukraine than the United States did. That's a lie. Europe has contributed more than the United States has. And Donald Trump once again told the lie that American aid to Ukraine was a donation, but European aid to Ukraine was a loan, and Ukraine was required to pay back France and all the other European countries that have aided Ukraine. And that was a lie that President Macron could not abide. And that is when President Macron interrupted Donald Trump, had to interrupt him and stop him from continuing to tell that lie. Because Donald Trump is not now, and never has been, educable, 3 days later, Donald Trump walked into exactly the same humiliation trap in the Oval Office today with the British Prime Minister sitting beside him.
They get their money back by giving money. We don't get the money back. Biden made a deal. He put in $350 billion. And I thought it was a very unfair situation.
We're not getting all of ours. I mean, quite a bit of ours was gifted. It was given. There were some loans, but mainly it was gifted, actually.
It was gifted, actually. Did you see that left hand? That's the interruption hand that the French president used. The British Prime Minister's left hand goes toward Donald Trump, but he's British. He's British. So
Says at the end, by the way, I didn't realize I cut up, but what he'd say at the end is like, he's British, so he's not going to touch him. Like, and who would want to touch Trump, period? And like, honestly, Lawrence O'Donnell's nice. Like, yeah, like Trump's uneducable. Like I mean, God, we could say so much about Trump. Trump is probably the dumbest. Well, I mean, it's a combination, right? Like when you're a narcissist, you live outside of reality. You believe you're God, and so whatever you believe is the truth in your mind, everyone should just accept as reality. So, and also he's dumb. Like he's painfully dumb. Because, like I've said many times on these lives, I was raised by a narcissist. My mother is so much more intelligent than Donald Trump. Like when you have to do battle with an actually intelligent narcissist, it's much more terrifying. Trump is an idiot. Like that is the truth. And but don't get me wrong, all narcissists are scary people because they believe they're God, right? And when you're an idiot, it's almost scarier, right? Because he's not intelligent, he's not plus, like he's just an angry idiot who believes he's God and is enraged because other people will not accept that fact as reality. Like that's what's going on. He's just looking around like, why doesn't anyone respect me? I wonder why, because you're an idiot. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Most people who other people respect have an idea of what's going on in the world around them, other than just pretending to be God. You know, most people who are president of the free world would know that they smelled and take a shower. We don't know why he behaves like this. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm just finding my place back in the presentation. So I had showed you that first clip of Trump just being embarrassing and yelling at Zelensky. So now we're on the second one. So, God, and like truly, Trump again. My background is in advertising. This was the most orchestrated planned media thing I've ever seen. This is all in service of Putin. I mean, I don't know how else you explain this. This doesn't help us whatsoever. So Putin has so much leverage on Trump that he is willing to orchestrate some sort of attack publicly on Zelensky, on our own ally, because that's what Trump owes Putin. I mean, it truly is terrifying to watch Trump sell out our entire country. I mean, that is how much leverage Putin has on him. So God only knows what it is. And Trump doesn't know any facts. Like, if you plan this whole thing, like, maybe read up on some facts. Like, that would be like, for people who plan this, you guys certainly came here with no facts.
What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014
2014.
and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
What makes America...
So notice, Trump is not at all interested in facts, nor does he know when this all started. All he's trying to do is make the point it wasn't me, even though we all know that Putin was making incursions into Ukraine the entire time Trump was president. Have you ever heard of the Donbass? Like, Trump's a delusion. Like, all Trump is interested in his delusional lie, which is, hey, Putin respects me. No, Putin does not respect you. You are a useful idiot that he has leveraged to the hilt. If he respected you, you could say the truth. Period. That's respect. That's being a leader, is being able to say the factual truth that we all witnessed with our eyes. You are a coward who is so leveraged and under Putin's thumb that you are not allowed to live in reality. Nobody respects you. Well, except for maybe your other uneducated sycophants, who I'm sure if they could get a whiff of you would no longer. Oh God, I was so bad when I was posting these things. Zelensky giving our old orange senile piece of leather in chief a history lesson. Like this was, we should all be embarrassed today to be Americans, quite honestly.
It's going to be a tough deal to make because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a...
I don't respect you. I'm a random person in Arizona, and I don't respect you. I am 100% sure other people that run countries don't respect you. I could tell you for sure. As a random person who makes somewhere enough money that's like somewhere near the poverty line, and I have zero respect for you. So the fact you delusionally, like, you are screaming at a reporter whose job it is to ask you questions. You have thrown the reporters out of the White House who fact check you. These are your own sycophantic reporters who are still allowed in there. And you're screaming at them as if they're attacking you. And I think it's because you're a fraud and a liar and you don't like, that's a simple question. For sure, no one respects you. For sure. Average American citizens don't respect you. Putin doesn't respect you. Other presidents don't respect you. It's all documented. They're laughing behind your back. You can find videos of people mocking you endlessly. Like, the fact he's still convinced there are people who aren't in a cult who respect him, right, is delusional. Like, either you are in a high control group where you're not allowed you have to respect him, or you'll lose the community around you, right? And you are in cognitive dissonance. Anybody who's allowed to say what they actually think and are living in reality, no, nobody respects you. Like, what? It's like, I feel like someone needs to deliver some hard truths, but he's a narcissist, so he won't believe it anyways.
Not with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam.
Think about this. His country, has been invaded. He's been at war. He's fighting for his people. This man is telling a pathological lie, which we know because the CIA, right? We know because of MI5. We know because of intelligence reports from all over the world. We know because of Senate Judiciary reports. We know because of FBI reports. We know because of DOJ indictments. Nobody who can read and is not an idiot. And that I say that because MAGA, right? If you are in a high control group and a cult / you are an idiot who can't read, you may still believe the lie that the Russia lie. He's trying to martyr Putin, who everyone knows has not only interfered in our elections, is interfering in countries' elections all over Europe, particularly former USSR countries. This is a well-known fact. And this weirdo is just yelling lies while this man's just like, what the F is going on? Be embarrassed that this is our president. I know, some would wake me up from this nightmare. Is right, Kathy. Right there with you. Like,
let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was
no, the classified documents you stole were in your bathroom. Like, do you understand? Like, I say this, I was raised by a malignant narcissist. If you listen to their words, it is always a confession, right? They're just pointing at someone else, yelling their own crimes. And it is the weirdest thing to watch. It's like, what do you mean Hunter Biden's bath? What are you talking about? No, your bathroom. That's where the classified documents. Stop confessing, you weirdo. You're talking about yourself yelling things that make no sense. And by the way, we know that everything you're talking about with Hunter Biden, with Joe Biden, all of those impeachment hearings, right? It was all Russian propaganda propagated by several spies that you had marched into Congress. Our tax dollars paid for it, who testified in front of Congress, lied under oath, and one of them is in prison now in the United States. His name is Alexander Smirnov, and he confessed that every single thing he said, all of the stuff about Burisma, the bribes, all of that was information fed to him by the Russians. This is all in court documents. Like, I know you can't read, but some of us can read. And if you can't, like, this is your chance, MAGA, to pick up a book. Like, there's no excuse anymore. There's no excuse to accept this as reality. We have a clown who paints himself orange every day and tells us that we need to respect him, but could not find his way out of a paper bag to save his life. MAGA, it is time to read a book now. The time has come. Pick up a court document, look up a PDF. It's time for you to join us in reality. And not just even because of this BS, right? He's robbing us. You're in a cult and being robbed, refusing to read and accept reality. We are all being robbed because you guys are idiots. So for all the moderate Republicans that voted for him, the independent, whoever you are, it's time to read. It's time to accept reality now. I've lost my patience.
Disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff.
Yeah. Like, what? Nobody cares anymore. We already know everything you did. We know that the Trump campaign colluded with Russians. Members of the Trump campaign have you ever heard of Paul Manafort? The man you hired to work on your first campaign, who pled guilty and went to prison? We already know what happened. Stop lying. Nobody cares. We have bigger problems now. Eggs are $80 for 2 eggs. I was watching Stephen Colbert say this thing, which is actually, he was saying it as a joke, but it's not even a joke. I was at the grocery store and they are now selling single eggs. Like, you can now buy like 1 egg. And then I guess you carry it home very carefully and like cook it because it's that expensive. We're now selling just an egg because they're that expensive. I know Stephen Colbert was like, they're calling them Lucy's, which is like what they call it when you buy like 1 cigarette. And I'm like, now we're selling 1 egg. Can you do something? And still, all he's doing is lying about that. You're terrible at your job. Let's discuss that. Can we discuss how bad you are at everything? And get a better makeup artist. But meanwhile, Drag queens can't put makeup on and read kids' stories, but we have to watch this shit show with clown makeup on lie to us every day. If drag queens aren't allowed to read stories, I don't think he should be telling us stories either every day. It seems like something wrong with this logic. Old insecure bully meets actual leader and war hero and tries to talk shit. God, this was the worst experience of my life this morning.
God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position
this
to
question.
dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember
what
this.
you're doing.
I'm not
You're in
dictating.
no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the
bad
very
position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not in a
Mr.
good
Brown,
position.
I
You don't
was
have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What
III.
what you're
You're
speaking
gambling
about?
with
What you're
World
speaking
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very.
Do you hear that? Him yelling and pointing at Zelensky, what he is doing. Do you see every accusation with a narcissist is in fact a confession? Point at somebody else and yell what you are guilty of. That is Trump 24 hours a day. Let me just direct this at someone else and confess to my own idiocy. It's like I'm losing patience for this bullshit. You're gambling with World War III, and by you I mean me and the rest and my band of uneducated idiots that I have gathered here today to ambush you.
Disrespectful to the country, this country,
I'm
that's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you,
your
far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania.
Have you said thank you once? Can I just clarify? Because again, I'm a person that's big on facts. Why would he say thank you to your ass, JD Vance? You voted against Ukraine aid. You said you didn't care what happened to Ukraine. You are an agent of Russia. You are a full-time employee of the Russian state. Why in the F would he say thank you to you? Why would he say thank you to Trump? Now, because I also am a smart person and a former historical researcher who could do research really well, I don't know, just get on ChatGPT, idiot, and do a search. Now, Zelensky has thanked the American people. I cannot count how many clips you can find or quotes in publications of Zelensky relentlessly thanking the American people for their support. And again, all you have to do is have fingers and a brain and be able to read, and you would know that. How many times this man has said thank you? But not to you two. Why would he thank you two? You guys are pathological liars who work for Russia. I don't think he owes you guys anything, especially you, couch boy. Like, and if I just want to be clear, this was all orchestrated and planned, but for JD Vance, like, this was his chance. Like, he feels very obviously, I think, pushed out by Elmo, and like, this was his chance to be Trump's sidekick. And like, he was like, yeah, like, I'm here, I'm going to say something. Like, nobody cares, JD. You're never going to be important. No one's ever going to like you. Look at this. This is funny. Old smelly orange man tells young, attractive, intelligent war hero leader some incorrect information. Like, I can't listen to these things anymore. This was the craziest, 10 minutes I've ever heard.
Today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please. You think
Wow. God, has he taken lessons from Putin? That is some fucking bullshit if I've ever heard it. Oh, you mean supported Biden? The person who was responsible, the Democratic Party, whose constant push, is the only reason Ukraine ever got aid, and then also thanked Biden for just getting his facts straight and telling the truth. Like, in what world? JD's like, let me read my script. Did you memorize your lines, couch boy? You pathetic weirdo. Like, how can you look yourself in the mirror after this? Like, wholly insecure, mediocre white men. Like, just how embarrassing. Like, and what, Trump, why is your tie 18 feet long? Can we do something about it? And then they're asking Zelensky about his outfit. None of you look good. If you're under the impression you look good, you don't.
That if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You haven't been alone.
In this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over.
So again, what he's saying is just understand we are arms dealers. If you understand U.S. history, we should be ashamed of what we've done. It's not respectable to arm both sides of conflicts, right? Like what we have done is we are not heroes. And all we do is we run a business, right? We give people old stuff and then we produce more and we fuel our own gross domestic product in doing so. We are running a business and fueling our economy. This is one of our oldest businesses. We are not doing people charity work. We are fueling the gross domestic product of the United States. We are giving his rich cronies like Elmo contracts, defense contracts. They're using our tax dollars to do so. I know. And like his weird little carny hands, like if I was Zelensky, I'd be like, please do not touch me. It's just gross. Keep your weird carny hands away from me, sir. It's really uncomfortable at this point. Coach Boy backs up his orange smelly daddy. This is the most embarrassed I have ever been to be American. Like this, JD Vance was literally like, this is my chance to impress my dad. Like it was super, super weird. And I feel like Trump gave him a script or a general idea of what he was supposed to do. And he's just like, I'm going to hit it out of the park. But you both just look embarrassed to anyone with a brain. And just while you are going to have to see all of this propaganda that Fox is spitting out of like, look at our brave president go. He's so brave. It's so amazing. No, anybody that backs this up, just remain calm and just know, I'm speaking to an idiot. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Just say anyone who's like, oh, I'm proud of this is an idiot. Being overly emotional during negotiations, that's not strength. Everybody knows that. Losing your cool, screaming at journalists, that's not a position of power. Positions of power are not showing your cards, ever. Never. You don't hysterically start yelling. This is an embarrassment to our country. So just to be clear, anyone who's like, isn't he strong? No, this isn't strength. Flailing around and hysterically screaming and trying to yell about a conspiracy that has been confirmed conspiracy after conspiracy that has in fact been confirmed long ago is not strength. Like Trump wouldn't know strength if it punched him in the face. quite honestly. So yeah, like I'm sure if I debate this weekend, I'm going to have to listen to someone say that this made them feel strong. Yes, it's going to be the mediocre white men. It always it always is. The mediocre white men are going to come out of the woodwork and be like, "Didn't he do a great job?" No, he did not.
Say thank you.
I said it a lot of times to American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. You're people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you'd take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what
that wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden who was not a smart person. That was with
A smart person would not say that Joe Biden wasn't smart. We recovered from the pandemic the best in the G7, right? Like, by the nature of Trump's positions on everything, right? By not understanding what inflation is, period. The only unintelligent person ever in a room is you. You embarrass yourself at every turn. Yeah, this is a narcissist having experienced like narcissistic injury. Screaming hysterically. He thought Zelensky was going to crawl in there on his knees and make him feel like a man. Narcissists need constant validation, right? Like, this is him just being like, why aren't you on your knees? I'm God. I don't understand. I'm God. Why aren't you doing what I want you to do? Exactly. We handed him a robust economy. He's driving it into the ground again, but he doesn't understand how the economy works. He's a grifter. All he wants to do is rob us. He's a lame duck president. Trump is here for 4 years. He doesn't care if he makes anyone happy, quite obviously. He's just here to rob us all and leave. Unless he can convince everyone to make him a dictator who never leaves. I mean, who knows? He's that crazy. Keep tapping the screen. We should be at 200K. Not to be a stickler for how much we are not tapping, but we get to like 800,000 when there's like 400 people in here. So I am 100% sure we can all tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap. Fairy Dust said he will not be here for 4 years. He isn't going to make it. Listen, as somebody who lives with a narcissist, or was raised by a narcissist, like, I just want you to know, like, expect the worst. You'll never be disappointed. I think it's my theory that by the delusion of believing they're God and healthy, they almost live longer. So if you are planning for Trump to just spontaneously combust, I don't know. I mean, fingers crossed, but like, I don't think that's a plan for managing the rest of our lives, right? Like, that's not going to save us from this guy robbing us.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful. Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make. Because the attitudes have to change.
Trump's like, get on your knees and worship me as a god. No, weird. You look like a clown. You sound like a clown. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I love to admire people who are intelligent, who are well researched, who are, like, are handle pressure well. You look like a fool. So no, we can't We can't do it for you. I'm so, like, you look like an idiot. Go back to the golf course. That's where you lie about your score. I think that's where you do your best work. Let just put Elmo in here with a chainsaw. Because honestly, like, I might prefer that at this point. Like, put bring in Elmo with a chainsaw. Like, it's time. Because honestly, that's better at this point than this. Uneducable. I know. Lawrence O'Donnell has it right. I wish Lawrence O'Donnell could just narrate all of this 24 hours a day. Oh, there's a poll. Thank you, Cootery. Miss you. Let's talk tonight. Tap the screen. There is a poll. I didn't ask because I've been clipping things too. If you don't know, Joanna, his daughter, had our baby, and I know I shouldn't be pretending I had a baby, but I feel like I did. And this is not one of those, oh, it's a beautiful baby. I'm not, and I would not say it if it wasn't true. All of us hybrids, us multiracial kids, are attractive. We have one of the best looking babies I've ever seen in my life. Like, I'm not just saying that. Us hybrids are always attractive. Like, we're about to raise the best looking man in a small town in Arkansas ever. It's gonna be awesome. So again, there is an Amazon wish list if you haven't bought something for the baby. So in like 10 years, whenever the kid can come on this live, we could be like, we bought you a onesie and we're your aunts and uncles. Like, please check that out. The baby registry is in my bio. But yes, we did have a son. Sorry, I just brought that up to break up the monotony of how sad our lives now are in America. Yeah, and then it just gets worse. Like, old orange unintelligent man proves he is dumber and more insecure than we previously thought. Like, I just want you to know, a secure person who is confident, who believes they are worth something, who at their core is not deeply insecure, does not need to demand that someone worship them as a god, right? I don't need people to worship me because I just believe that I intrinsically have worth, right? Like, you just know it about yourself. Like, Trump reeks of desperation. That's how you can tell a narcissist. It's like oozing out of them. They're like, what? Why don't you believe I'm God? I don't know, because you seem desperate and insecure.
Deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can deal to make.
Can't even believe this is our reality. It's terrifying. Like, this man is so insecure and so far outside of reality. This man has the nuclear codes. He's robbing us while we sit here. And there's not one Republican with a spine in Congress who will stand up to him. And I am telling you, and I mean this sincerely, call your Congress people and tell them. Call every congressperson in your state and say, we are going to get rid of you if you don't do something about this weirdo. Like, we have to put pressure on Republicans to grow spines. Trump won what? The idiot contest? Oh, listen, I don't know why you're in here yelling Trump won, but if you're about to start spamming the chat or saying unintelligent things, I'm just going to give you the fair warning I give everyone. This is a place for people who aren't idiots. If you bother us while we are educating ourselves about reality, then I will just block you. Like, that is your one chance to not be dumb AF. Like, I mean, it's already very clear you are. Just shut the F up and learn something. God, I don't know how you got here, but this is not the place for you. Oh my God, and I love this. After Trump just has like meltdown after meltdown, like Zelensky's just like the old, that was 30 minutes, I'll never have back, thumbs up. He's just like, what the F is happening here? Oh yeah, I need to check Cash App and Venmo. Yeah, this is my Cash App and Venmo. And by the way, if you would like to support me, please do, because I do need to make some money. I do this and I do rely on your guys' support, so I can do it. Oh, and I just saw this. Thank you so much, Kathy, for the $6. Get you a coffee. You deserve it. I should have some caffeine right now. Actually, no. I think I'll probably need a downer, but I will. Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you for your support. It means the world to me. Trust me. You just don't know. This is just short, but I just thought it was funny. Like, Trump screams at him and he's just like, okay.
Guys, come on. Well, the sausage maker.
Did you see JD Vance like patting Trump on the arm? You guys are an embarrassment to our country. Oh, here's the best part. And like, I just want to say, like, I don't know if you can see it in this picture, but I suggest everyone look it up. Like, this was a coordinated ambush. I cannot express that enough. This is like Mike Waltz. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene, but we all know her and we do not love her as Margarine. That's her stupid boyfriend who spreads lies 24 hours a day on Real America's Voice, formerly from Right Side Broadcasting Network. These are all Trump's most sycophant liars. Like, this is a full-on ambush. And the best is Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is like, this is what I've already said. He's actually qualified. Like, right? Like, Marco Rubio knows this is not a good idea. Marco Rubio is not an idiot. Marco Rubio supports Ukraine. And the look on his face the whole time this is happening is like, yeah, Marco, you're a loser for sitting there in silence. You are a coward for sitting there in silence while this was happening. History will not remember you well. You had a chance. Remember when Marco Rubio tried his best to stand up to Trump once? Like, now he's sitting here in silence, like the loser that he is, knowing that all of this is factually incorrect. Thank you, Frankie, for becoming a member. You're a commie now. I'm still here. I'm glad you are. I'll support you as long as I can. Super chat coming in a minute. Thank you, Frankie. And I love your super chats. They are super motivational, and I appreciate you so much. Susan, thank you for the $2 from Logan, my 5-year-old son. What? That is so sweet. Sorry for the swearing. I'm getting more angry. I usually don't swear. I used to be a teacher. Is there a 5-year-old listening? But God, he has to learn. Trump's an idiot. Curtina, thank you for the $50. I love you too, and have for a long time. Love your brain. You're amazing. Don't change for anyone. I feel like I should give you my phone number at this point. Okay. So anyways, this is the point. You can see Trump has orchestrated an embarrassing ambush, and then Marjorine's boyfriend opens his dumbass mouth. I don't know if they all have a specific script, but if you don't know again, I come from a background in advertising. This was very clearly orchestrated. And it has a long, like, I remember the first time, like, after the Ukraine war, like, really was into full swing and Biden was president and Fox was attacking the Democrats and Biden and Zelensky. This has this whole, why would he show up and speak to Congress in this outfit, right? And then, this is a long disputed thing. Like, this is definitely, Brian Glenn would never walk into the White House and say this shit if it was not, in fact, pre-approved. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, no, Brian Glenn doesn't do anything unless someone tells him it's okay. Like, he doesn't speak unless Margarine speaks to him. So that's what I'm saying. Just know this was all orchestrated. And Republicans, when they had nothing on Zelensky better and more Republicans were supporting him, they tried to say this. He could at least show up in a suit. Why? His country's being bombed. I don't know why he would. Should he wear a $10,000 suit? I think that sends a worse message to the people who don't have electricity and food in his country. Like, he doesn't owe anything to the Republicans who are working for Putin, right? He owes something to his people, right? And in that sense, I think he showed up for them today. Like, he didn't let Russian propaganda, at least he pushed back and told the truth. Oh, I know. And look how Elmo dresses. Dresses, the least of our problem is how Elmo dresses. Like, Elmo doesn't even know what room he's in most days.
Second question. My second question for President Zelensky. Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting.
I don't have such.
Office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe
something
something like yours. Yes, maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than Thank you.
He said, "Shut it, bitch." Like, that's what Zelensky said. "Shut it, bitch." Like, that's what he just said. And like I said before, if you don't know, Zelensky has hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm not saying he enriched himself in politics. I'm saying he's a very successful comedian. Like, Trump likes to be like, oh, he's a comedian. Like, no, he's like an extremely successful one who has hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars prior to any of this. If he wanted to have the best suit, he could. I don't think that's a good look when people in your country are starving. Yeah, it's like, and believe me, Brian Glenn, you look like garbage. Like, pipe down over there. You look ridiculous. You always do. And you're dating margarine, like, which is the ultimate ugly accessory. Like, you need to not talk. Oh, this is the Lincoln Project. Russia's greatest asset, the lying grifters in the Republican Party. This is so true. Like, while this is happening, the Lincoln Project puts out this video, which they've put out like similar videos before, about the Republican Party, being Russian assets. But I mean, has it ever been more true than now? Russia's greatest military asset is not any bomb, tank, plane, or ship. It is the Republican Party. And that's why, again, like, if MAGA defends Russia, like, then they're like, oh, I don't care about the war. Like, you're a casualty of the war. You've been indoctrinated. Wars aren't necessarily only fought on battlefields anymore. Like, cyber warfare is the new war. And the low IQ Republicans have lost the battle, right? You are a casualty of this war. You have been indoctrinated. The propaganda, they used to fly planes over and drop leaflets. No, now you got God on X, you idiot.
It was the greatest honor. Hero of the Soviet Union, awarded to those who gave their all to defend the motherland. Today, it is the hero of the Russian Federation. The men and women who have served the motherland's interests with great honor and distinction. Marco Rubio.
We're going to need to have functional embassies in Moscow and in Washington.
Tulsi Gabbard.
According to the U.S. government, these biolabs are conducting research on dangerous pathogens.
J.D. Vance.
I don't really care what happens to Ukraine one way or another.
And the greatest hero of our time, Donald Trump. These heroes know Russia is a peaceful nation that will never bow down to the decadent American values of what they call democracy. Remember them. Let history record their names amongst the greatest of our heroes. Never forget, they live in our hearts forever.
This is the Lincoln Project. They make these videos. I mean, it's all factual. Like, the Republican Party carries water for the state of Russia. And if you know this, like, and I've played clips that are translated. Russian state media laughs at the United States 24 hours a day. They make fun of Republicans. That's what they're doing. They are laughing at us because they control us. And then back was like, oh, I don't think Putin's a bad guy. You don't get it. They are mocking you endlessly on Russian state media. There are accounts, which I've played many of the clips, like and people that translate Russian state media, and it's just them be like, how dumb are these people? Well, the answer is pretty dumb. Oh, yeah. This is crazy. So this is the end of it just ended, right? The press con. Well, Trump threw his toys out of the crib, right? Like, Trump throws his toys out of the cribs, embarrasses us all, and refuses to do his job. Like, there was supposed to be, this is supposed to be a negotiation after, and then, a joint press conference. Whenever you see Trump sitting in the White House and then the press is there, that's just the teaser before they do the actual work. This was just supposed to be something for the US, or for the worldwide media. They were supposed to negotiate. And Trump kicked Zelensky out of the White House, threw his toys out of the pram, as they say in London, and refused to play any more with his playmates. This is the man you elected, MAGA. A consummate professional who started crying on national TV and flailing around yelling. Can we get to 300K? Oh, yeah, I typed this in the chat, but I know some people are driving and not everyone's reading. The chat goes kind of fast. Yeah, I got 2 or 3 violations. I don't know. I don't think I'm being rude. I'm just a little bit angry today. So or MAGA's a little bit sensitive that they feel dumb. I don't know. So tap the screen, share the live. Let's get to 300K. Let's interact with the live, gift, whatever. So that maybe if we make TikToks a buddy, make sure you mention TikTok shop in the chat, whatever.
And we just confirmed, actually, Nick, we just confirmed from the White House, a producer just got in our ear, the press conference between President Zelensky and President Trump has officially been canceled. Again, that press conference was set to take place about 20 minutes ago. We watched what happened in the Oval Office, and everything sort of flew off the rails from there.
This is a catastrophe for Ukraine and for what has been an American-Ukrainian alliance in pushing back on what Russia has attempted here. Let's bring Nick Payton-Walsh back in to talk a little bit about it. Nick, a whole day planned here, and we should just be clear, this day planned with Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House came after trips by the UK Prime Minister, the French Prime Minister, coming here to America to shower President Trump with praise, trying to get him to get in line with them when it came to supporting Ukraine. He appeared to be there as much as he could be yesterday, and this is ending today in a debacle, however you want to call it. Volodymyr Zelensky leaving early or getting kicked out early. This is a debacle.
Watching people try to report on this who were like, I don't know if we're allowed to say the truth, but then some people did, and I want to say thank you so much. Is it Rui Augustino for the $10 for being honest and hardworking? Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And thank you, Frankie, for the super chat, the $19.99. I think that's the highest super chat I've ever gotten. Get yourself a big cup of coffee. Love you, girl. Yourself a big cup of coffee. Love you, girl. Thank you so much. And I will. I drink a lot of coffee. You have no idea. The older I get, the more coffee I need to survive. Oh, and then this is just the awkward video because I just was watching all these and I'm like, this is so awkward. This is Zelensky, like, after Trump threw a fit and made him leave. This is him fleeing. Yeah, and I would want to leave too. Thank you, April, for subscribing. Oh yeah, and I forgot another subscription. April, thank you for subscribing, and Anna, thank you for subscribing. I'm trying to get to 350 subscriptions. I changed it to 300 because I'm thinking if we meet the goal, then maybe TikTok will be this goal, and then I'll change it to 50, and then TikTok will be less mad. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to learn how to manage lives better for the algorithm. Oh yeah, and what's important here is listen to these reporters, right? Like, listen to what they're shouting at Zelensky. Like, because you could tell, like, the ones who are, I don't know, thinking people, and then the Trump sycophant ones.
Did you sign the minerals deal? Did you sign the minerals deal?
I don't know why it sounds like that. I swear to God, when I was watching this and recording it, it did not sound like that. I don't...
We may be watching the floor fall through this moment in international relations and diplomacy, or this might be the art of the deal, and we're not going to know for some time. Jackie, it appears that even going into this meeting that this relationship was not great. About a week ago, President Trump called Zelensky a dictator. He was asked about that yesterday with the British Prime Minister, and he said, did I say that? Next question. As if he wanted to brush that off and make sure that things stay.
Oh yeah, okay, so I actually have that. I have a good example of that. So if you guys don't know, and that's why I thought like they were going to make some sort of deal today. I think most people thought it because, normally Trump is lying through his teeth or just saying outlandish things. And yesterday, during one of his press conferences where he was pathologically lying, someone said like, hey, like you called Zelensky a dictator. And he basically, he's like, did I say that? I don't remember saying that, which is a lie because he absolutely said that. Right. But like, that's sad too. Think about like how sick it is that we're at the point where we're like, oh, if he's denying one of his horrible lies that he's always saying, maybe that means like he's gonna try to make a deal. Like, oh God, it's sad where we're at. But let me find the video really quick because I was, this is part of the show I actually thought I was gonna do today before this absolute S show happened. I want to find it because it's interesting. Well, because it's a juxtaposition. This is what is that company called? They used to be so big, and I never see their videos as much anymore. The Recount, I think, they were doing like a side by side of like Trump being like, "Did I say that?" And the clip where he very clearly said it. And then also people were posting like so many transcripts online of him saying it over and over and over. But I thought it was like, oh, maybe he's like going to be reasonable and at least just deny the delusional things he's been saying because he wants to make a deal. Like that's what I was thinking was happening. But then I saw this orchestrated S show where he clearly didn't want to. So again, and I'm trying to show you guys where I see these clips. So like I'm trying to take a screenshot of them first to give people credit for like where I'm getting the clips, and also in case you want to follow the accounts. I'm going to try to do that more. But this is like the Recount, which is all over the internet. Like it's on TikTok as well. Oh, sorry, I forgot.
A dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast or he's not going to have a country.
Do you still think that Mr. Zelensky is a dictator?
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that. Next question.
Yeah, you've said it more times than we can count. You've been spreading Russian propaganda relentlessly for years. So, yeah, you said it. But I did think, like, okay, maybe he's like gearing up to deny all the Russian propaganda he spread so he can make a deal with Zelensky. Like, maybe this is good. No. Never get your hopes up because you will always be let down. Expect the worst with narcissists and you will never be disappointed. And this is like, okay, so when all this is happening, I mean, this stuff is exploding across the internet and it was fascinating to watch in real time. This is Dana Bash's like actual account on X, Dana Bash CNN. And like if you know, Caitlin Collins is in the White House press corps. So this is fascinating to watch. So this is their like first reactions, like right after all this show is going down.
Wow. Just wow. That was something. I want to go straight to our chief White House correspondent, Caitlin Collins, who was in the Oval Office, as we heard before we saw the tape, and CNN chief international anchor, Christiane Amanpour. Caitlin, I want to start with look at her face. I mean, Christiane, hold that thought for once. Okay, actually, Christiane, please take it away.
Never in the history of modern diplomacy, war, peace, whatever, have I ever seen it.
And I just want to clarify, this is not my internet connection. This was happening the whole time she was speaking, but she says some interesting stuff. So I just want you to know it's going to get worse. And then they kind of have to go and then they have to switch to Caitlin Collins. But the cutting out, this is not my internet connection. It was happening during the regular clip.
Anything like it. We just have to hope that for the safety of the free world and for the American people, for the European people, for the Ukrainian people, that these two presidents get out of prep and try to iron out their differences. This was an entirely personal go-to with so many mistruths and misfacts. J.D. Vance, who once said about Ukraine, I don't really care about whatever happens to Ukraine, says to Zelensky, who spent a long time for what
Christiane,
it's impossible to understand what's going to happen next. The only person here from this is President Putin.
Yes.
And beyond that,
yes, Christiane.
She's saying the only winner is Putin. Like basically Western civilization, Canada, Europe, America, Australia, like we are effed, right? Like we're basically bolstering China and Russia. Like we're handing over political power to them. It's terrifying to watch, right? We're giving them leverage, not just politically, but in trade, right? Like, I mean, this is not good for the economy, for the stock market, like, right? Like this could crash the stock markets, which could cause a recession. Like there is no world in which anybody benefits from this, but Putin. And then probably a little bit Russia, maybe Saudi Arabia, like a little bit, you know, all the people that we would not necessarily want to benefit, right? Like those are North Korea's, yeah, they're not, they're they're on the front lines. Like they probably are like, could this please stop?
Your audio is breaking up a little bit. We definitely got the gist of what you were saying. And Caitlin, I do want to, because there were a lot of things that were just not true, aside from just the tone and tenor and the monumental, historic, not in a good way, historic event that we just saw in the Oval Office. Caitlin, it really did seem to devolve when the vice president said to Zelensky, we just want diplomacy. And what Zelensky was trying to do was say, we had that. We had a deal with Russia. We had an agreement, the Minsk agreement, and Russia didn't abide by it. So I want some guarantees that that won't happen again. And then it devolved in a way that is really, really remarkable. The screaming, I mean, you have been with Donald Trump a lot. We have seen and heard about Trump getting upset and losing his temper. I think this is probably the first time we have seen it like this on camera. We all should.
Yeah, when she said that, I was like, really? I don't feel like it's the first time I've seen it. Like, I feel like this is part of but like, as far as in the Oval Office, when the stakes are this high, when the fate of Western civilization, of the markets, like, I'll say this, one of the most intelligent things, well, no, Kamala Harris said a lot of intelligent things, but one of the things like I really liked, and this was just a lesser known speech. This was not when she was running for president. I just was watching a speech she gave when she was Attorney General of California, and she was talking about how the responsibility of being the Attorney General for the fourth largest economy in the world, and how she understood the pressure that, like, the wrong words, right? Like, too much emotion, like too much worry on her face could move markets. Now imagine watching the leader of the alleged free world. I think nobody sees America as that anymore. I think we are an absolute S show at this point and a joke. But imagine what this man did. If Biden did this, if he threw a fit, they'd be like, he's senile. He's lost his mind. What's he doing? This man was literally like a toddler who did not get his nap and his Big Mac and fries, and had an absolute meltdown in front of the world. That will move markets. That will bankrupt people. And I just want, think about this. Trump is a grifter, right? I think that's unequivocal at this point. So who knows what short positions, what people have shorted. Maybe they're going to financially benefit from this as show. I don't know. This was clearly planned. Like, who knows what people have shorted? I'm just making a statement. Like, this, I don't think people understand the magnitude of what has happened. Like, having a worried look on your face in the Oval Office can move markets. This is an absolute S show of proportion that we have never seen before.
Say, Caitlin, that let's just be clear. I'm not saying that there wasn't genuine anger here, but he understands when the television cameras are there, as does J.D. Vance, and we can't lose sight of the performance aspect of this.
It was incredibly genuine, though. I mean, J.D. Vance said that this shouldn't be litigated in front of the press. Trump said, actually, no, it should be. I'm glad that this is happening. And, the way that this built, just to give context of the 40 minutes that happened before what you just watched, the most remarkable part of this interaction was there were moments where President Zelensky would do what we saw the other European leaders do this week, where they step in to correct either on aid to Ukraine or to talk about Putin and the fact that he can't be trusted. At one point, Zelensky called him a killer and saying that there should be no compromises with him. And the U.S. officials were sitting there just kind of listening to this. And it was at that point, though, where Vice President Vance stepped in. Trump was silent at the beginning of that, and then Trump also got involved. And then they were just essentially yelling at one another in this. And with Trump, all of his diplomacy, we know, is personal. That's why the world leaders who have come here this week have tried to flatter him to essentially get what they want when it comes to negotiating the end of this. And that was not what we just saw, the tack that Zelensky took here. He was, as Zelensky typically is, straightforward in his opinions and what is the reality on the ground. It was kind of chastising Vice President Vance for not having come to Ukraine. And at one point earlier, when Trump was asked if he would go to Ukraine, Zelensky was saying that was what he was going to ask Trump as well. He's been he's emphasized a lot that he thinks these U.S. officials need to be there. But to give you a sense of how this negotiation is going, right now they are meeting behind closed doors. They're supposed to come out for a press conference any minute now, and that's where they're signing that minerals agreement that they've been touting as a big first step here. There are real questions about what this looks like going forward, because you heard
is Trump basically stealing from Ukraine. I don't want to say that until I know what the nature of that agreement is, but what Trump has been saying is basically the classic Queen's mob boss. You agree to give us 50% of whatever minerals you pull out of the ground. And if you don't understand why, there's a reason Putin's always desperately flailing around trying to take over Ukraine. They have rare minerals underneath the ground. They are the breadbasket of Europe. They have deep water access, right? And Trump and Putin is boxed in. There is a reason why, right? And this was so, and allegedly Zelensky was going to, yeehaw, thank you for that, like was going to agree to something. Like Trump was going to essentially rob him while we all watched. So the way that Trump couldn't just keep his cool and follow through on whatever it was he was going to do is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Like, you were about to rob someone, and instead of doing that, you were like a 2-year-old that missed their nap. Like, it's just strange.
What President Trump said to me there at the end, I asked, can the two of you still go in a room and negotiate after what just happened?
And I forgot to say part of something. And I just want to say this for like anyone that's like, see, like Trump's a great negotiator. He's making a deal. Like Trump's amazing. Like, look at him making deals for America. That's another sign that if you ever hear that from someone, that they are an idiot, right? Like, I'll say this again. It's the same thing with Trump saying we should use our military resources to commandeer the Panama Canal, or we should use our military resources to steal the minerals that are melting underneath Greenland, or we should use our, any sort of resources to evade anyone. MAGA's like, look at us exerting dominance. We're real men now. No, you're an insecure, uneducated, mediocre white man. And you've just showed me that you don't understand, right? Because let's say Norway, right? When they pull minerals out of the ground or they pull oil out of the North Sea, what happens? The entire country, the citizens benefit from that. Right? They use it to fund their social safety net, for retirement, for education, for child care, for maternal leave. That's what they're doing. They are they're not they're a social democracy. So when they are pulling resources out of the ground, everyone is benefiting. We are not benefiting at all. If Trump uses our tax dollars to use the military to take over the Panama Canal, billionaires and corporations might benefit. You're not getting shit. Ooh, puzzle piece. Hold on. Where's my mouse? Sorry, you can't hear it, but I promise you it's happening. Okay, cool. We are not going to be shut down. So just understand that if MAGA is like, isn't Trump tough? Like Trump is robbing all of us. Our tax dollars fund the military. If we took over Greenland, if he was like, hey, we're about to go use the military, we're going to take over Greenland, there's untold riches there, and then universal health care for everyone. Well, that's a different story. I still don't think that's something we should do, but at least he'd be offering all of us something. We get nothing in any of this. MAGA gets nothing. We have no health care. We are losing Medicaid. We're losing STEP. We are just being robbed. While Trump and his friends get richer. So if you are a person who's in any way thinks that this is cool, then it tells me that your brain is not functioning.
And he said, we'll see, essentially. And Dana, there was one moment where I looked around the room at the officials who were there. It's the top Ukrainian advisors, the Secretary of State to President Trump, the Treasury Secretary, Vice President Vance, obviously. The Ukrainian ambassador to the United States had her head buried in her hands as this shouting match was going on between the three of them.
Yes, I saw you put that on social media. It is one of the many. There you go. We're putting it up on the screen now. That is the Ukrainian ambassador, as you said. And she, talk about her worst nightmare. She was literally watching it unfold before her eyes in the Oval Office of the White House.
Yeah, and there are longer videos. I was recording so many videos. I didn't have time. But there are longer video. Like people are I have a really good one to show you of Marco Rubio in a second. Like, what people are doing now is basically like going and like zooming in on people's reactions when all this is going on. And yeah, that woman is like This is worst case scenario. I'm embarrassed I'm sitting here. I'm just going to. She looks physically ill for like 5 minutes. It literally looks like she's going to throw up. She's just like, ugh. Oh, and this is okay. So it is the marker. Thank you for the stamp. I wasn't sure if it was next, but it is. So the Lincoln Project, because this is what we all need to be doing, is zooming in on Marco Rubio. This is the smartest person in the room, and it pains me to say that, but when you're in a room full of dumbasses, it's not hard. It's not a hard thing. And with Marjorie's boyfriend's there, Trump, couch boy, who actually is at one time I would have said was intelligent, but is just like, I will sell. Oh, there's not a video playing. It's not muted. This is a screenshot. So no, this is you speak the truth. Yeah, I'm just here, just saying the real truth until I get thrown off the internet. Until this becomes a real authoritarian state and we're no longer allowed. I'm just going to keep yelling the truth. You know what I'm saying? JD Vance and I've witnessed this, right? Like JD Vance was a Yale educated lawyer who was very liberal. And I don't mean liberal as like the way MAGA means it. I mean, just understood what was real and what wasn't in the world. Right. And then it's not like this is not JD Vance's first authoritarian, right. Trump isn't the first authoritarian that JD sold out for. Right. Peter Thiel is JD's master. He is owned by a billionaire and his name is Peter Thiel. And that is where, and you can track this, when he started working for Peter Thiel in the tech industry, you could see like his mindset shift and what happened. He became insane. Trump, I wouldn't even say Couch Boy works for Trump. I think he works for Peter Thiel, and everything JD does is to position himself to run for president next. All right. That is the goal. And actually there's a poll that came out. He is far and away the person that will be, the next candidate for the Republican Party. Thank you. So again, look at this. Realizing he sold his soul to an old orange narcissist that has no idea what he was doing besides working full-time for Putin and Mother Russia. This is the Lincoln Project's video. Record scratch? Yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I ended up in this situation. You know that, that people put in TikTok videos? That is Marco Rubio's face. The entire time this is happening, Marco Rubio's just sink further into the couch, sink further, just slink down and nobody will see you here. And Marco, no, history will remember you as a coward who did not say the truth. You are smart enough to know better than all of this. I know you are. I've heard you speak. You are a coward who just slunk down lower and lower and tried to disappear into a couch that JD Vance has probably done something inappropriate with.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting.
I don't have such.
Office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe
something
something like yours. Yes. Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Marco. Lil Marco. It's Lil Marco in full effect. Full-time coward. Full-time coward. Long-time supporter of Ukraine. Full-time coward. No, that's not Fox's reporter. That is Marjorie's boyfriend. I played the clip earlier. If you just got here, Renee, that voice you were hearing, no, that's not a Fox News reporter. He could never work at Fox. Actually, no, who knows now? I think Trump could force Fox to hire anyone at this point. But no, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, who used to work at the Right Side Broadcasting Network and now works at Real America's Not So Real Voice. Right? That is Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, who she was married and having ungodly relations with. And he was married. And you can look this all up. I'm just telling you a story of how they all got to know each other. And then they started like being always being at Trump rallies together. His name's Brian Glenn. I thought at this point we all knew him. I've been trashing him for years, since 2022. It's the man Margarine left her husband for. Well, I think her husband already hated her, actually. I think they were pretty done, but definitely Brian Glenn's wife was pissed. Like, because she said stuff in the media. Like, but I think Margarine's husband was like, get away from me. Oh man, Adam Kinzinger. I love it's okay. So Adam Kinzinger, who's an actual intelligent person, formerly in the Air Force. Trump was too much of a coward to say a bad thing to Putin, yet he dares to lecture Zelensky. Russia is on the verge of collapse, and Trump and Vance are desperate to save them. And someone said this earlier in the comments, and I saw that, and I wanted to agree, but I think I had too much going on in my brain and didn't have time to agree. Yeah. This is the facts. Like, this whole thing was orchestrated, and I do think it is a symptom of Russia's desperation for this to end, right? Like, and what else explains it? Trump is a full-time employee of Russia. So it seems like this is what Putin wants.
Trump and Vance are absolute cowards. Like, we should be thanking Ukraine for taking on the Russians, for fighting back against the Russian invasion, which, by the way, yes, the Russians invaded, when Donald Trump is too scared to even stand next to Vladimir Putin and say something bad about him. He's scared of Vladimir Putin, and he's president of the United States, and he dares to lecture Zelensky. And Vance, who's made it very clear that he doesn't give a rat's ass what happens in Ukraine, is going to stand there and try to provoke a confrontation. Remember, Donald Trump called this invasion brilliant. He said what Putin was doing was brilliant 3 years ago. And it was supposed to last, by the way, 3 days, maybe 3 weeks. We're 3 years into it right now. The Russian economy is on the verge of collapsing, and Russia is out of offensive combat power, and Ukraine continues to defend. So nobody in the Oval Office should dare to lecture Zelensky. Screw.
There was a room full of cowards. And someone said, I think it was Billy Dipchit, who I love, Billy Ray, longtime fan, one of my first follower, or we're mutuals on TikTok. But I think he said little Marco was sinking into the couch because he has no spine. Yeah, that's the problem with Republicans. None of them have any spines. They know the truth, but they won't say it. None of them will say the truth. And imagine, like, these are people who represent American citizens, and they are too cowardly to stand up. Hey, Billy, right? Yep, I heard you. I saw your comment. Yeah, they're too cowardly to say the truth. This is the reality of what is going on. Only one person was saying the truth in that meeting. And everyone else was just S-ing Trump's D, which, imagine that, the smell. Can't be great. There are women who are on record about how awful it is, so just say, just court documents. Just stating facts. Insecure idiot for president, humiliating us all with his lack of self-control. I just put this. This clip just fascinates me when he's like, "Have you said thank you once?" Like, I cannot stand this.
Tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed...
We're going to feel very strong is something only a narcissist could say. Strong is not a feeling. Right now you're feeling insecure and angry, which are the only things narcissists can really feel, right? Like, You are an emotional person having an emotional, embarrassing reaction. You're not feeling strong. Strong people aren't flailing around threatening people on national TV.
To be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about
it. From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire
today.
meeting have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of approval.
Have you said thank you to dear leader once? I'm a weirdo who works for a billionaire named Peter Thiel. He's my master, and now I have another master I have to serve. So my first master can help me get elected president in a few years. Have you said thank you? Like, have you looked in the mirror at yourself? Can you do that without hating yourself, Couch Boy? Like, we all have a lot of questions we'd like to throw around and ask people. Like, this is America. I don't know how Couch Boy can go home. Oh, this was a good one. And I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. It's Meropolis. I'm sure I'm saying that. I should be saying that faster and putting an accent on a different syllable. But because I don't know who this is, but I like him, and I will be following him in the future.
So I share the disillusionment that Ambassador McFaul was talking about. This was a disgraceful performance by the President of the United States, a disgraceful performance by the Vice President. They have humiliated the United States on the world stage. It reinforces all the suspicions of our European partners that America can no longer be trusted as an ally. And I think at the end of the day, perhaps this puts to rest some of the things we've been hearing, that there are some members in the GOP, for example, senators and others, who are trying to change President Trump's mind. I think that's gone at this point. Certainly there was efforts by their European partners to come and kiss the ring. You saw that both from Macron and Starmer, but ultimately none of that was successful. And so what you saw today was, I think, the true shift in U.S. foreign policy. It is not values-based. We have an administration that's acting like a mafia family, trying to shake down our allies. And I think this is going to have profound effects. I literally have been watching this stunned. This is not the way, certainly, it was even to be scripted. I'm not quite sure why Vice President Vance came in so hard against Zelensky, but humiliating an ally on the world stage does not certainly advance U.S. national security interests. And I would say that I cannot imagine, Marco Rubio, who has been an influential voice in U.S. foreign policy, he was sitting there. He can't think this was a good thing. The National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, again, someone who is very respected as well, someone who has supported Ukraine in the past. I cannot imagine that they thought that the thinking is that this went well. And I do wonder is how do people who actually are serious about national security in the Republican Party recover from this? Because at the end of the day, this was an absolute catastrophe. And I think it will have profound effects on our European partners as well, who is going to look at this now and say the U.S. is not our ally anymore. That is not.
Yeah, I mean, the repercussion, and I just want to say, if you are an American, and I am unfortunately going to have to say this to MAGA, because I know you guys aren't thinking people, and I'm trying to help you learn to think. Okay, so this is just as a former second grade teacher, right? I'm going to help you learn to think critically here, because I have noticed that MAGA has this tendency to say, America first, I don't care what's happening in the rest of the world. It has nothing to do with me. States' rights, brother. Okay, so what you have to understand is this will move stock markets. This will break your retirement fund, right? It already is. I understand none of you truly there's a progressive commercial that came out recently where like it's like people just kind of like standing around a kitchen aisle and they're like, the economy, yes. It's very clear no one knows what the economy is or how it works. And it always makes me think of like MAGA. Like it's so obvious. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? You don't have to be an expert on the economy, but you gotta just understand that what happens anywhere in the world moves markets. Right? When Trump embarrasses us, when he has a tantrum, it will bankrupt your retirement account, right? Inflation is already prospected to go. It has gone up, right? The January inflation rose in the January inflation report, but the projections of inflation are much worse, right? What mattered to you, the reason you voted for Donald Trump, it's not getting better. Prices are projected to go up. Interest rates are not projected to go down any longer. The Fed was going to lower interest rates. And I know that's just words you hear and you're like, what the F does that have to do with me? Right? If the world economy was stable, if things were going well, the Fed would lower interest rates, make money cheaper. That would make more rich people borrow lots of money. And it fuels jobs in our economy. None of that is happening anymore. It's already projected not to happen. Yes, are we at 300K? We need to get to 300K. We can do it. Keep tapping. Thank you, Brittany, for helping me. Let's all encourage everyone to tap the screen, use your fingers. We can do it. So if you think for 1 second, the reason we stabilize the world is to benefit our domestic economy, right? I didn't set up a global economy. Republicans did. That was their dream, right? So they could have capitalistic slave labor in Asia and South America and Africa. That was not my dream. That was your dream. Republicans, surprise, you just don't understand how the global economy works. Peace through trade. I'm sorry, now that we have trade triads, we have to keep things peaceful or we disrupt our own future domestically. Oh, and I like this guy. So again, I'm not that familiar with who these people are, but I did like this was fascinating.
We're on live TV, so I'm not going to speak in terms that I would speak if we were off the air, but this was horrific. This was a tragedy. And a tragedy for American national security interests. I want to really emphasize that. This does nobody any good. This doesn't make the American people better off tomorrow.
I think that's fair. I think that's what you most need to understand. And like MAGA, as long as you continue not to read and not to understand how the economy works, you just think, Donald Trump said he's a man and he's going to take care of me. That's your own ignorance to not understand how this was a bad thing for you. This was a failure on every front, economically, in terms of foreign and domestic security, in terms of foreign relations, in terms of trade. This is a fail. We have failed. Let's say we were, and I just want to throw this is a thought exercise. I know you guys don't have many thoughts, so I'm just encouraging you, MAGA. This is how you start to think critically. It's a thought exercise. So close your eyes and put your hands on your temples and massage them. Let's get your brain to start working. I'm confident we can just massage MAGA's brains into working. So just think about it, right? Just think, how will this help me? How is this a good thing? All Trump did was empower Russia and empower China today. That's what happened. If you believe otherwise, if you watch Fox News and listen to the delusional sycophants Trump already had scheduled to be like, look at Trump, he's a man. Now everyone knows he's a man. It's not helping us at all. I heard I can't even remember. I didn't record it because it was so dumb, but there was some senator or not. I don't think he's a senator because I know the senators. I didn't even recognize the guy. So I'm going to assume he's in the House of Representatives. And he was basically like, this was a master class of foreign diplomacy. Like he just showed China. MAGA, what you have to understand about China, and Trump spent all week in the White House basically encouraging China and foreign investment. He's not putting America first, right? And what you have to understand is that we are entangled in trade triads that we can't untangle ourselves from with China, right? If China's economy fails, the U.S. economy fails. We cannot undo this.
Does nobody any good. This doesn't make the American people better off tomorrow. The senator, now Vice President Vance, pleading for the leader of a country to pledge his fealty to President Trump and say thank you. I want to remind your viewers, President Zelensky said thank you to the American people 1,000 times. Use ChatGPT, Mr. Vice President, and look for it. And by the way, Senator Vance voted against that aid to Ukraine. So the paradox of that, it just was shocking to me. And they need to sign this deal. This deal was good for the United States, was good for Ukraine. And instead of signing that deal, we were relitigating Biden and Obama, and I just wish the president would put our interests today front and center and stop litigating what happened in 2016 or before, because that is not in America's national interest.
And that's the problem. And someone said this, yes, McFaul is a former ambassador to Russia, and I'm not sure anything else about it. Yeah, he used to be an ambassador, like a U.S. ambassador to Russia, but I'm not sure for which president or any other facts about his background. But yeah, he definitely is speaking. If he's on MSNBC, then he's actually an authority on a subject. Like this is not, it's not like having Kimberly Guilfoyle speaking on Greece from like a lawn chair sunning herself. Keep tapping the screen. We're almost at 300K. Let's go. We are getting to 800K today. I know we could do it. Yeah, when he says we're not litigating 2016, and we already played the clips twice. I'm sorry if you just joined us, but yeah, what he's saying is Trump is screaming, saying Putin was accused of colluding, like the Russia hoax. I didn't just have to go through that. Putin did. Hey, I'm here to tell you, if you believe that Russia was a hoax, that is another sign that you can't read and have never read. Okay? The CIA, the FBI, MI5, Senate Judiciary, right? The House. I mean, there are thousands of pages, and if not millions of pages of reports that at any moment you can read that will confirm that without a doubt, the Trump campaign and Vladimir Putin were in fact colluding. There are court documents. People went to jail and pled guilty for it. Putin is interfering in elections all over the world. There is no dispute that this is reality. And if you believe it is not, you are just saying to the rest of us, I can't read or think. I am in a cult. I am in a high control group. I am afraid if I express the truth or read that I will lose the community around me. That's the nicest way I could say it, maybe. Like, maybe you can read, but I do know I do know a lot about high control groups and cults, and I know that, sometimes it's like your brain is literally like, you cannot take in information that is contrary to the cult because it would mean the loss of your community. So, like, that is the nicest way I could say, but I am fairly certain that most of you don't read. Because, I mean, if you can't find this information, and I mean, like, Elmo's own AI tool on X can tell you the truth. Just ask Grok. It'll do the work for you. Oh, and then I found this fascinating. Do you remember when we all thought Karl Rove was the devil? Like, remember when Karl Rove was the worst person? Remember Enron? Like, George W. Bush, and we're like, oh my God, these people are horrible. And now Karl Rove is like the voice of reason. Like, this is how scary, like, of a place we're in when Karl Rove is like, hey, this was a shit show. Like, that's where we're at now. Karl Rove is a sane person on Fox News. Like, they had, like, the Trump sycophants who were like, he put on a master class of manliness. And it's like, what are you talking about? And, like, now Karl Rove is, like, the sanest person on Fox News. If you told me this is what was coming, I never would have believed you. But Karl Rove is the sanest, most intelligent person on Fox News.
Carl, what was your read on what you watched on TV for the past 30 minutes?
Well, this is why diplomacy should never be conducted in public. I'm confident, and we now know that, for example, in World War II, there were heated disagreements between Franklin Roosevelt, Joseph Stalin, and Winston Churchill, but we didn't see them broadcast on TV, and what we saw were statements that came out of these big conferences in which the Allies made an effort to move forward together. It is going to be incredibly hard to walk back from the kind of animosity that we saw in that room today, and to walk back some of those statements. It could have been done if it had not been, if cameras had not been running. But the only winner out of today is Vladimir Putin. This is a mistake to have it broadcast. It was a mistake for Zelensky to get his dander up, and it was a mistake for the president and the vice president to be so public in their comments. This was not the moment that should have been televised. They should have had those conversations out of camera sight, and I'm confident that then they would have been able to find a way to move forward. But it's really hard when you've had the kind of coverage of this moment.
I just want to be clear. Biden would have never. Kamala Harris would have never, right? Mistakes like this move markets, crash economies, ruin retirement accounts for American citizens. Truly, this was the biggest public mistake I've ever seen in my life. And I never want to hear again that women are emotional. This was the most emotional, embarrassing display I've ever seen in my life. As a matter of fact, men are the most emotional. It's just men don't understand their own emotions. Anger is an emotion. Did you know that? It's the most base emotion there is. So for all men that say women are emotional, no, it's you, in fact, that are emotional. 24 hours a day. Men are emotional. Men cannot regulate their emotions in a healthy way. A 5-minute cry is the most healthy way to regulate your emotion. Go in the bathroom, cry for 5 minutes, feel good about it, move on. This was a pissing contest of overly emotional, insecure men. And I'm talking about the orange piece of leather and couch boy. Like, I didn't see Zelensky yelling. I saw him calmly saying the truth. Like, they're saying Zelensky was upset. I didn't see that. I just think he was saying factual information. And I just want to say, it is his job. He is in wartime. People are unaliving in his country, starving to death. They do not have food. They do not have electricity. Like, he needs to defend the truth of what Putin has done. If he let Trump run over him and spread Putin's propaganda, Can you imagine having to go back to his country and look them in the eyes? Like, he did the right thing. He calmly said, "Hey, I just can't let you lie. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and like just fact check you here." And then when Margarine Taylor Greene's weird boyfriend asked him why he wasn't wearing a suit, all Zelensky said was like, "Should I wear a cheap suit like yours?" I mean, that was the most he'd said anything that had emotion. All he was saying was like, "Hey, like, can't let you lie on my people here who are unaliving in real time." Like, meanwhile, like, JD and that old orange piece of leather were like flailing around hysterically. Oh, and this is my senator and senator slash astronaut. Just not all senators can be astronauts, but some of our senators are, and by some of ours, I mean mine. Mark Kelly is awesome if you've never had the pleasure of hearing him speak. And like, he met with Zelensky, and I didn't record the whole video, but if you want to look up Mark Kelly, like, he has a video. Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona, he has a video talking about his meeting with Zelensky earlier in the day, but this is him just like talking after this show went down, just being like, "I am disgusted." Oh, and if you don't know, it's because some people don't know, yes, he is an astronaut. And not just is Senator Mark Kelly an astronaut, his twin is an astronaut. Just saying. And not only that, but do you know who he's married to? Do you remember Gabby Giffords? She was pew-pewed in the head and survived. She was like in the house. That's his wife. And she's like not only still alive, but has taught herself to speak again. Like, pretty fascinating stuff. Like, what a cool family, and just absolute survivors. Like, yeah, she's literally taught herself to speak again. They thought she was going to be a vegetable in a coma forever. And she was like, I worked on Kamala Harris's campaign. She was at hundreds of campaign events, like, literally, just very impressive family. That's all I'll say.
I did, not from our meeting this morning, but Chris, let me just start by saying what a complete and utter mess. And this is a gift to Putin. And make no mistake, and I hope the American people get this, that this makes us look weak, and it's not normal behavior. The United States, Chris, we are a superpower. Our powers, our military, our economy, our diplomatic corps, our professionalism. This was not professional. We don't gain anything by acting like bullies. And this is what bullies do. And just because you act this way, by the way, it doesn't mean that you're tough. So this is a...
Yeah, like, what happened to Republican, like, walking softly and carrying a big stick? Like, do you understand our military budget is bigger than the next, like, 10 countries' military budgets combined? We don't need to act like insecure, mediocre men. Like, we walk softly and carry a big stick because we have one. We don't need to act like this, right? That's why most... Like, if you don't understand diplomacy, like, true, and like, my background is in history. I used to be a historical researcher. Like, what you have to understand is watch the UK. Nobody has wreaked more terror, is responsible for the decimation of more cultures. Like, their museums are full of the spoils of things they've stolen from, like, civilizations of the past, right? But how do the Brits act? They smile in your face and they are always calm, right? Because they know who they are. They know what they've done. They are the empire. Like, Star Wars has, like, George Lucas made a movie about how evil the British Empire was. Right? That's what the trope of the British gentleman is. Like, oh, they gaslight you. Are you getting upset? Like, we're always calm. And then they are actually, like, decimating entire civilizations. We are empire. Right? We don't need to flail around yelling. right? We know what we have. We have the nukes, the vast majority. We are the world's police. Like, and so that's why I'm saying that's how insecure Donald Trump is. You have every single card in the deck, and you're still yelling and demanding people worship you like a god. That is, malignant narcissism is a disease. It's a level of insecurity, right? That like we cannot cure him of. He's an embarrassment to us all. Like, this is bravery. And trust me, like, and Mark Kelly is a Democrat, just to be clear, but like, he reminds me a lot of John McCain, right? And I think that's why the Republicans in Arizona just accept him, even though they try to oust him. You know, he just talks softly, but is a badass mother effer. You know what I mean? Like, and you just don't doubt it. And that's how John McCain was. Like, it's just, he was a man of few words, but when he walked into a room, you could just feel he meant business. And Trump, it's like Trump is so insecure. He will never be that way. He will never be a true leader. Right? Like, true leaders lead by example, not by flailing around and yelling lies. Oh, and now the most depressing part of this whole thing. Oh my God. And I don't even know if I have all these clips in order, so I might have to move around. But like, when I say this whole thing was orchestrated, like, truly, this entire thing was orchestrated. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jeff Smith. Yes, John McCain went through unbelievable torture. I disagree with John McCain on so many things, but yeah, John McCain was a true hero and a true patriot and was a leader. Like, he didn't have to talk. People followed him because he was a leader, right? Like, and that's the truth about Arizona. Like, Mark Kelly is going to be elected over and over, like John McCain, because he's the leader who doesn't talk that much. It's just people back him. And that's how Ruben Gallego is a senator in Arizona, right? Another Democrat. Arizona's a primarily Republican state, but Ruben Gallego doesn't talk a lot. He's a Marine that backs up his words. Trump is somebody who just talks. All talk, no action. Mr. Bone Spurs himself is... I'm sorry, and I forgot to say this. How the F is a draft-dodging, bone spur-having coward talking to Zelensky about wartime? What do you know about it, draft dodger coward? I know in Arizona, like, both of our senators are people that have seen combat. Like, we have a thing there. We respect people that don't talk about it. They are about it. You know what I mean? Like, one of our senators has been to effing space, and the other one is a battle-tested Marine. Right? Like, Trump is a coward. And Lindsey Graham, like, this is what I say. When I say they have something on Lindsey Graham, if you don't know his history, I was talking about this at the beginning of the live, like, he was John McCain's lapdog. Like, where John McCain went, Lindsey Graham followed him around happily like a Labrador. Like, he was like John McCain's golden retriever. Like, just like, hey, I agree with John McCain. Like, and then when John McCain died, it was like Lindsey Graham lost his way and then just got weirder and weirder and weirder. And now is very clearly being leveraged by Trump. Like, when more Republicans agreed, you know, and supported Ukraine, Lindsey Graham was an outspoken supporter of Ukraine his entire life. Lindsey Graham understands that what Trump is doing is not right. But very clearly, he had media appearances already set up and a script that he was following. And it got so weird.
Oh, Senator, thanks so much for jumping on with us. As we can see, you're live from the White House there. What is your reaction to what we all just witnessed there in the Oval Office?
Devastated.
Oh, Senator, thanks so much.
And I was like, I saw this clip and I was like, okay, Lindsey Graham, like, maybe he's going to say the truth. Oh no, it got so much weirder. I'm going to skip around. I think I have the clips in order, but I'm going to skip over one and I'll come back to it so I can try to get them in the correct order that they actually go instead of the order I found them. Oh yeah, it just got so weird. And I was like, oh, he's devastated. Like, because I've always heard Zelensky actively backing, Lindsey Graham actively backing Ukraine and Zelensky, I know that John McCain would turn over in his grave if all of a sudden Lindsey Graham was reading some script that Trump had demanded he read on Fox News. Yeah, it's as bad as we all think. Keep tapping the screen. Let's get to 350K. We're almost
there.
Met
with Zelensky this morning. I urged him to stay on message, be grateful, be thankful. We'll talk about details of security guarantees later. Keep it upbeat, keep it positive. It was absolute, utter disaster. The question for me is he redeemable in the eyes of Americans? Most Americans witnessing what they saw today would not want Zelensky to be their business partner, including me, and I've been to Ukraine 9 times since the war started. I met with him this morning. President Trump I talked to last night, he was upbeat about the deal. I've never been more proud of President Trump for showing the American people in the world you don't trifle with this man. He was very positive. He was very upbeat. He wanted to get a ceasefire. He wants to end the war. And Zelensky felt like he needed to bait Trump in the Oval Office. JD was awesome.
John McCain would roll over in his grave and spit on you, Lindsey Graham, for the person that you have become. Shame on you. You make me physically ill. Truly. And I don't really care about Senator Flip Flop. That's what I call Lindsey. That's my name for Lindsey Graham and has been for years. Once John McCain died, it was like he was lost and just couldn't hold his own. He doesn't know what he believes in. But, it gets worse. Do you think this is the worst thing that Lindsey Graham was saying? Lindsey Graham is being leveraged. Just Putin's turning the screws on Trump, and Trump is turning the screws on Republicans. It's so obvious what is happening. It's that saying, SHIT rolls downhill. That it's very clearly, this is all an orchestrated media push. And shame on you, Lindsey, for betraying John McCain. And I don't agree with a lot of things about John McCain, but he would hate you for this. Lindsey Graham says Zelensky has to step aside if he doesn't change. Well, Lindsey, why don't you step aside? You need to sit a few rounds out and take a look in the mirror and decide who the F you are. What are you doing, South Carolina? Between Senator Flip Flop and Nancy bathroom monitor base, and hey, I got married because I'm dumb enough to think that Donald Trump would have a black vice president, Tim Scott. What the F would you say any of you are voting for in South Carolina? Just a bunch of spineless weirdos. Truly, spineless weirdos you guys vote for in South Carolina. Grow a spine and elect somebody with an opinion. I cannot, the Republicans and the MAGA weirdos at Arizona, at least we elected senators who have opinions. They're Democrats, and people show up and push back on them all the time. But they're battle tested. Well, one's been in space, and one is a Marine who's been in combat and has PTSD from it and have opinions. Why don't you elect people in South Carolina who aren't delusional liars and who don't change their mind? Nancy Mace was a outspoken advocate of the LGBTQIA a couple of years ago. Trump was going to primary her, and now her primary job is to watch bathrooms in Congress and make sure the one trans woman in Congress does not enter her bathroom. These people have no spine. Disappointed, South Carolina. Listen to this.
This is a missed opportunity, and the question for me, for the Ukrainian people, I don't know if Zelensky can ever get you to where you want to go with the United States. Either he dramatically changes or you need to get somebody new.
Senator, I don't know if you were in the Oval Office.
This is a myth.
Where would he want to get with Putin's B-boy? Where do you think anyone wants to go, Lindsey? Where you've gone? Seems pretty spineless. Seems like a horrible place to be, under the wheels of the bus. I don't think Zelensky has any intention of going down the path you've gone down. He's not a coward. Like, it's unbelievable. What won't these people say? I know, Rainey, I feel sick too. It's like, oh, Zelensky needs to change. No, not everyone is a flip-flopping coward. Some people actually live in reality, understand the difference between truth and delusion, still have the same spine they were born with, and just say the truth. Like, how are we? What? Oh my God. Oh my God. Just wait.
President Trump handled it in a fashion that if I'm China, I'm Iran, I'm any would-be adversary, I'd be worried about right now. He gave a master class in how to stand up for America.
Okay, so what we saw.
Oh, what does he have on you, Ladybug? I think I know what it is. I think the worst thing possible in the Republican Party. Nothing we would fault you for, Lindsay, but hey, maybe if you just accepted who you are, Lindsay, you wouldn't have to be on Fox News telling a bunch of delusional lies today. How embarrassing for you. And do you know how I know this is all orchestrated? Because, and you can just go fact check me on this, these talking points, all of Trump's sycophants are hitting the same ones. Same talking points. There's every Congress lining up. It was like instant the interview started. Everyone is hitting. Well, obviously you put on a master class. Oh, you all just happen to use the exact same words and say China's scared. China, who, if you've ever been to Asia, you understand they value not showing emotion. And China's scared by an insecure man that paints himself orange every day, having an emotional meltdown during a negotiation. They are scared of that. I guarantee you they are not. Like, do you believe what you're saying? Or how much leverage do they have on you? Nobody is scared. We all just feel just cringe and shame. Oh my God. And I want to say this is the worst part. There might be one worse, but this is pretty bad. Lindsay, shame on you.
I just think there's no way the president could have signed that deal given the way he and JD and our country were treated. I don't know if you can put it back together. I don't know if you can repair the damage. And I've busted my ass to try to help Ukraine to make sure we help them win a war that would, get this war over in a way that we don't have further aggression, and Donald Trump's the man to do it. I told him this morning, I told him, don't take the bait. Don't let the media or anybody else get you into a argument with President Trump. What he's doing today is resetting the relationship. You should be grateful. Now, whether or not we can put this back together, I don't know. But Zelensky's going to be on your network tonight. If I were him, I would profusely apologize to the way he treated our president and the vice president in the Oval Office and show a little bit of gratitude for what the American people have done.
Senator, how does Moscow and Putin?
So again, like, Lindsay, just because you get on your knees for Trump every day, that every time he asks you, doesn't mean anyone else has to. And again, anybody can Google the thousands of times Zelensky has thanked the American people for their help. He does it constantly. He is eternally grateful to American taxpayers for their assistance. But again, imagine your country has been invaded. You are watching horrific war crimes being committed. You have to see the unalived bodies of children. Are you going to show up and let somebody tell lies? No. He can't do that. He can't. He has to defend his people because, again, he still has his original spine he was born with. Lindsay, yours seems to be missing. Oh, God, it does get worse now. I'm remembering. God, if it couldn't get more delusional, Trump, this is how I know it's a script. Oh, Moscow is afraid. Really? Really? Are you? Of what? Trump's lying 24 hours a day. Trump is a Russian state media employee, and you're trying to now gaslight us into believing for some reason Moscow's afraid? Like, how dumb do you think we are? Please, it's the insults to my intelligence. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I must have done it twice.
Takeaway. I told President Trump, I said, there's two ways to look at this. Your interaction with Zelensky was maybe the best television I've ever seen, but it's deeper than that. The world is now watching how Trump behaves and acts when he's pressed. I thought he stood up for America, that we're a good people. We want to help you, but we're going to be respected. So I think Moscow is probably more afraid of Trump than ever. Hope the Chinese are, and I hope the Iranians are. As to Zelensky and Ukraine, to the Ukrainian people, America wants to help you. The way the meeting went today, you made it almost impossible to help you.
The people that have cut off all funding to defend them want to help you. The gaslighting and delusions never end from the Republican Party. And yeah, I'm so sure China's terrified of an emotional white man who paints himself orange every morning while saying nobody else can wear makeup and read stories to children. But every day he tells us fantastical tales that some would call lies while wearing very badly painted on orange makeup. It's, again, it makes no sense to anyone with a brain. No sense. Lindsay, how far you've fallen. Like, what a disappointing weirdo. Like, truly. Lindsey Graham, Senator Flip Flop. Like 2 years ago, I'd have been like, Lindsay is a loser. Now, oh, Lady G, what's happened? We don't know. But it looks like they might have more on you now. Oh, and this was so good. Oh my God, you guys are going to love this. This is probably one of my favorite clips of the day. It's like you listen to all this crazy, you're gaslit by Fox News. I didn't record too much of the gaslighting because it drives me insane. But then somebody's like, oh, I'm just going to actually speak the truth for 3 minutes and 24 seconds. It's like, let it wash over you like a gentle wave. And let's get to 450K while we tap the screen.
Cut to the chase. The president of the United States is a coward who is Vladimir Putin's puppet. And the vice president of the United States is a pogue and a coward who is Donald Trump's puppet. And so what we just witnessed was a meeting in the Oval Office between two cowardly puppets and a hero. And whether you voted for these puppets or not, just as an American, as a fellow American, it's just embarrassing that the only hero in the Oval Office, the only decent human being for that matter, is the Ukrainian. I mean, this administration is going to go down as an embarrassment to American history.
Congressman, I wonder if you think...
Sorry, I have to take a pause because there's somebody whose brain doesn't work who has come in here and typed something dumb in the chat. Jason, I'm going to give you a chance. The person speaking doesn't work at CNN. In fact, they're a congressperson. Nobody thinks CNN is credible. That's a very unintelligent thing to say, right? A congressperson is at a media outlet giving their interpretation of events. If you are not smart enough to find your way through that or going to continue spamming the chat with unintelligent things and embarrassing yourself, then I will block you. My suggestion, though, is to go silent in shame and let that shame wash over you and then learn something. This is not a place to say unintelligent things. This is a group of intelligent people who understand what is going on in the world. Oh, Jason's continuing. Gotta go. You had a chance, Jason. How embarrassing for you. Sorry. We cannot, I can't have my intelligence insulted. I will not tolerate idiocy anymore. Like, how truly embarrassing for Jason. It's just shocking
that President Zelensky could have handled it differently, the way that some of his European counterparts and Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer did, and perhaps been more deferential to Trump and Vance.
Deferential to what? Deferential to a president who allowed a deal in his first term to crumble because Putin just violated it? Deferential to a vice president who didn't even bother to visit Ukraine? I hardly know anyone in Congress who has any view on national security who hasn't been to Ukraine during this war. Deferential to a draft dodger who's our commander-in-chief?
Deferential to President Bone Spurs himself, who wouldn't know a battlefield if it drafted him? Yeah. And someone said he had the nerve to have Will Riker as his profile pick. These are all just other cowards, armchair quarterbacks. Like, please be quiet. I cannot be insulted by mediocre white men's intelligence any longer. I refuse. Kathleen, I just saw this. Thank you so much for the $50. Like, you don't understand. That will help me pay my rent. For all this I do, all of the outlines, I am a former teacher. It takes me hours to do this. I do it because you guys support me, so I appreciate it so much. Forget the coffee. Today calls for vino. I know. Amen to that. Today calls for THC. I'm going to put myself into a THC coma later so I can pretend this is not reality. Representative Seth Moulton, by the way, he's on the Armed Services Committee. He does not work at CNN, like that very unintelligent person who was just commenting in the comments seemed to imply. So yeah, and I suggest looking him up and following him. He's very smart. Thank you for subscribing, her holy grizzle. Thank you so much. we're trying to get to 300 subscriptions and then to 350. So please subscribe if you can. Nothing better than recurring revenue you can count on.
Zelensky doesn't deserve to be deferential to anyone in that Oval Office. In fact, I kind of wish he'd put them in their place a little bit stronger. I mean, this is just truly, truly embarrassing. And the vast majority of my Republican colleagues in Congress completely agree with me. They know the truth here. They're just too scared to say it themselves.
Congressman, I do wonder how you would react.
You love it when someone just has the actual fortitude, or as MAGA would say, balls, because they don't know big words like fortitude. That means strength. In case that Will Riker guy's come back from his backup profile to learn something, fortitude is a big word for strength. Learn something new every day. Get a dictionary. To just say the truth. And trust me, like, I talk about this all the time. Like, I'm obsessed with Capitol Hill in Congress. Like, it's one of my passions. So, like, I read all of these Capitol Hill blogs, and I'm not, like, I know what goes on with the Democrats. I don't need to know what's going on with the Democrats. So, like, I'm fascinated by the Capitol Hill pages and, like, the people that work on Capitol Hill for the Republicans in Congress. And it is a well-known fact that they all know Trump's an idiot. Behind the scenes, they all mock him. They all don't like him. They're all like, this is a clown show. Like, what's going on? But none of them have the strength to show up like Representative Seth Moulton and say the facts. I hate being a U.S. citizen at this point, dude. I know. Stephen, That's a normal feeling. I will validate your feelings. We are all feeling deep. If you're not ashamed by this, that's what I'm trying to say. If you are not ashamed by this, I question your intelligence. I question if you can read. I question what you know, what you actually know. I question if you're in a high control group, also known as a cult. I question if you are in an information silo. I question so many things about you if you do not feel a deep, deep sense of embarrassment and shame. That is the normal reaction of an intelligent thinking person today. That it's bring in the THC or the Vina, whatever it takes to like get out of the shame spiral. That is the normal. Good job, Stephen. I think you're right on. You're doing great. Like it's okay. That means you're a thinking person. We should all be embarrassed. Can you imagine? Think about Xi, right? Trump's always like, I love Xi. I look up to him. He unalives illicit substance dealers. Oh, Xi's my idol. I wish I could do what he does. Yeah, he would never act like what Trump acted like. He would never. I've never even seen Xi like crack. You know what I mean? You barely see his facial muscles move. He would never. Putin would never. Kim Jong-un would never. You embarrassing toddler who threw your toys out of the crib. All of the authoritarian dictators you look up to would never. You are an embarrassment. Like, it's the fact you can't, and then try to gaslight us about whether or not this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. We're all sure. Everybody's laughing at you.
Back to the suggestion by J.D. Vance that there was a lot of chest thumping and harsh words for Putin in the last administration, but not enough action. Do you think that the Biden administration should have provided Ukraine with stronger weapons?
This is the moment, like, and I want to say this is a person, Seth Mullins on the Armed Services Committee, and this is something I've said, like, yeah, if we're going to spend the money, we should have not tied Zelensky's arms behind his back. We should have gone in harder, faster, stronger, right? I think Biden's weakness was that he's always about diplomacy, right? Like he always has a tempered reaction, which is good. You don't want to be off the deep end. But yeah, I think it's fair. There are fair criticisms of how we manage this war, right? Like, and that's okay. It's okay to say, like, if we're spending all these billions of tax dollars, but then we would only give them certain types of weapons, not the long range ones, right? Like, that's a fair criticism, and he makes them, right? This is a normal criticism and an intelligent one.
Sooner in order to prevent where we are right now?
Look, I have been a fair critic of both Democrats and Republicans and a critic of some aspects of how Biden handled this war. And yes, I think that he should have given them more weapons faster. But the idea that Vance and Trump, who are literally sucking up to a dictator, who want Putin apparently to win this war, the idea that they would criticize Biden, I mean, that's real rich. That's real rich.
Where do you think this goes from here, Congressman? Do you think U.S. aid to Ukraine is immediately at risk?
It's unquestionably at risk. I mean, everything we stand for as Americans, the very fundamental value of freedom, is at risk with what cut to the chase.
Who sent all these subscriptions? Thank you. And Mama Mary subscribed. Thank you. It's so hard. If you could see what it looks like to me in TikTok Studio, you would understand. It's very hard for me when there's like subscriptions bought to tell who did it. Who bought the subscriptions for everyone? Someone tell me so I can say thank you. I sent 5. Thank you, faithfully. It's not that I don't want to say, it's confusing. It's just like, this happens so fast. Meet Tanya, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I don't want to mess. If you sent subscription, like, or if you know who did, definitely just tell me in the chat so I can call it out, because it's like, happens all at once. And then it looks, thank you. Is it time, Tanya and faithfully, for buying subscriptions and gifting people? That's awesome. I have this new idea. I shouldn't say this because I've been thinking like we need to have some sort of like subscriber only lives or something. So I'm going to talk to Pickles about it. I have this really good idea. And I'm going to ask Pickles if he wants to do it with me so we can have like, it's kind of weird. Oh, and Tanya, thank you so much for the $50 from Bronze. You be kicking ass, Felice. God, thank you so much. I just am fed up and I'm just going to scream the truth until I'm hauled off to Gitmo. Which, if I did mine before all this S show went down, I had so many things to say. Maybe I'll just do another show tomorrow and talk about all that stuff. I know Pickles is live now. I was going to, if I finish early, I may go debate with him. Pickles has fortitude, absolutely. And he has a great brain and he's good at math. I love Pickles. Pickles and I are tight. We were debating together last night. Hopefully, did he fix his internet or is it still going slow? Because if it's slow, I don't want to be part of it. But yeah, he just moved and we were having some internet trouble. But yeah, like last Friday, I went and debated with Pickles after. It depends. If he's still live when I'm done and debating, then I might. Because, yeah. If you know, you know. We are good friends. Oh, yeah. So I love this Seth Moulton video. I think we should all follow him. He's a representative. Like, love that guy. And everyone who has courage to speak up, which again, like seconds after this happened, I'm just going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep screaming it to the hills. I think Chris Murphy is looking very presidential and like, he's keeping us sane. Like, if you follow Chris Murphy on whatever app you are, and I know people don't want to be on X, but the problem with only being on Blue Sky, and I'll just tell you as a creator, and like the challenge people are going to have is you can only post videos that are a minute long on Blue Sky. And like, that's why probably like, you know, the Congress people are on X is because they're posting videos that are much longer. And this is what he posted like right after this S show happened. And I was saying this, like, he nailed it. Like, Chris Murphy was like, this was all planned. And I was like, thank you. That's exactly what, the minute I saw this, I was like, this is an orchestrated marketing an advertising attack on Zelensky. He walked into an ambush. That is literally what happened. And then they're like, Zelensky needed to just stay calm. Well, if you walk into a coordinated ambush where everyone had a script and then he did stay calm and just responded with the truth, I mean, that's how you know this is a delusional ambush full of gaslighting.
Witnessed between Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and President Zelensky inside the White House was an ambush. It was a planned ambush designed to embarrass President Zelensky in order to benefit Vladimir Putin. That was an embarrassment. That was an abomination. What you watched was American power being destroyed in the world as everybody watches President Trump become a lapdog for a brutal dictator in Moscow. It's got to be hard for Americans to understand how the White House has just become an outlet for Kremlin propaganda.
You know, that paper is
why the health of Vladimir Putin matters more than the health of democracies. That was absolutely extraordinary to watch. The planned embarrassment of an ally just because it's good for Russia.
Don't ever doubt your sanity. You are not insane. We are being gaslit and lied to. These are planned, delusional, actually, and let me just say, poorly planned. As someone who works in advertising and marketing, they couldn't even follow their own scripts. Like, poorly planned ambushes and attacks. Poorly planned. Like WWE clown SHIT. Like, and this is why I'm saying follow Chris Murphy, because he is doing real time responses. And like, if you are ever like, am I going insane? That's why you need to follow him on wherever you are on social media, because he's just like, you're not crazy. This is BS. All the time. And it's like, thank you, Chris Murphy. Thank you, people in the Senate, for waking up, and specifically Chris Murphy for being like, I need to be a full-time content creator in addition to being a senator. And I appreciate it immensely. Like, we needed Democrats in the Senate to speak and again, I love Dick Durbin. I love these people. Okay. They're not content creators. And so while these people are being kept out of leadership positions, yes, do create content and yell the truth to the hilltops.
Nothing about that is good for America. It makes us look like a laughing stock. It makes us look like we do not care about democracy. It gives a green light for Russia and China to invade their neighbors, to unveil a new era of global instability that's terrible for the American economy and terrible for American workers. I met with President Zelensky this morning, and he knew that he was going to have a tough job meeting with President Trump. But he was here to try to find some common ground, despite the fact that Donald Trump calls him a dictator, despite the fact that you can't work for the Trump administration right now unless you pretend that the war in Ukraine was Ukraine's fault. All utter bullshit, utter lies. Despite all of that, Zelensky still came here because he cares about his people, because he cares about democracy. And what he got was an embarrassment. What he got was an ambush. What he got was something that no world leader, especially a vital ally like Ukraine, deserves. What an embarrassment for this country. What a terrible day for America's reputation in the world.
God, isn't it just so nice to hear someone say the truth? I just cannot. I appreciate people like in these times where you are just rewarded by Trump for just being a pathological liar. I mean, I'll say this, like, I'm a sapiosexual. If you are just joining the live, that's not that creepy. You'll hear me say it more, but that's somebody who's like attracted to people's minds. And like, the more lies and gaslighting I hear 24 hours a day, when someone is willing to just be like, here's the mother effing truth. Like, I find that so attractive that I just cannot express it, because I'm watching, like, if you think that you're some sort of strong alpha male and you fold like a lawn chair and lie for Donald Trump, who's a coward and is reeks of insecurity, there's nothing less attractive. History, as a historical researcher, I just want you to know, history will not remember you well. You will be known as a collaborator, a liar, and a coward. Like, we've already seen this. Like, again, this requires reading. This is where you have to read. There are documentaries, I mean, you could probably watch as well. Oh, is Jason back? Jason, God, you are not smart. Jason, it is painful how not smart you are at this point. God, how did you get in here? Listen, Jason, I actually feel like the teacher in me, the historical research in me, because I unequivocally know that you are not smart. You are not correct. And truthfully, you should stop your fingers, pipe down, and listen and learn something. And honestly, you don't understand even what confirmation bias is, and that's sad. So, like, use that incorrectly, straight up. So, again, oh, you blocked him? That's fine. It's fine, Kami. If you blocked him, it's fine. But we probably, if he comes back with it's just the teacher in me. Like, dumb people should learn. like, okay, let me put it this way, right? Like, I am a teacher, and when I was teaching second grade, for instance, like, I wasn't like, oh, this kid's a Republican and this kid's a Democrat, and I hope that the Republican doesn't learn. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're a teacher, I hope for everybody to be less stupid than they were when the day started. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is my hope as a teacher. And I don't want to discriminate, especially like the slowest readers. I would want to give the most time. You know what I'm saying? I spent the most time with the slower reading group because I needed to catch them up. And that's sort of how I feel about MAGA sometimes, right? But when he literally, he probably just created a new account. Do you know what I'm saying? Jason has been making a new email address and creating a new account so he could come back in here and be like, I learned the words confirmation bias and use them incorrectly. Like, he's just working overtime to look dumb. And so that's why I'm saying Jason probably needs to be here more than we do. But also, I have to protect this space. That's why I just go debate with Pickles, because I block everyone who annoys me. Like, I couldn't debate from my account if I wanted to, because I've blocked every Republican who's ever annoyed me, which is pretty much everyone at this point. Dale is that my first troll is the only one I just have more patience for, because he's been harassing me for years. So I kind of have an affection for him. You know, if it's your first troll, you don't block him. But yeah, like, he's back. Jason's back. God, Jason, how embarrassing for you. Wait, let's not block Jason. Jason, can you just not say annoying things? I don't need you to not be here. I just need you to not annoy us with your unintelligence. That's what it is. You are insulting our intelligence and embarrassing yourself. You're welcome to be here if you can just be quiet and learn. You don't have to embarrass yourself publicly. I know Dale is a lost cause, but I think secretly Dale loves me. I have a whole following. You guys don't even understand how many MAGA men follow me. I have and then I just started blocking them. But like, I used to have like 100,000 followers that were just MAGA men who I think. Oh, Jason's still talking. Jason, I'm sorry. Jason, like, I'm going to just say this before I block you. No, block him because I get to do it this time. Jason, I don't need to tell you this. You have no idea what you're talking about, right? We've been playing clips on Fox this whole time of Republicans saying delusionally unintelligent things, right? We've been playing clips of people on CNN saying delusional, unintelligent things that are not correct. And that was one clip that made you feel emotional and in your feelings. And then you started typing incorrect things. You still don't know what confirmation bias is. You are an embarrassment to yourself and no one else. And I encourage you, as a teacher, as a historical researcher, to talk less, to type less, and to read. You don't know what you're talking about. And anyways, you have to go. I'm sure you'll be back, but I'll just keep blocking you because nobody has time for your... Yes, shushies is the key. Actually, I hate that. I don't like those words. Oh, and this is a great clip. And if you don't know John Jackson, I just want to be clear. He's a former trial lawyer, former GOP, American veteran of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. He's a creator on X. Like, he has a lot of fans that are MAGA, actually. Like, Jason's desk is in the hallway. I was a kid whose desk was in the hallway. Like, I have no problem with ADHD children who can't sit still. But, like, when you are a mediocre white male who's convinced just by the nature of you being a man that you know what you're talking about, you must go. Like, you should be embarrassed by the statements you made in this chat. I lived in the hallway. Billy Ray, if there was a hallway for you to sit in on TikTok, you'd be in the hallway. I was not only in the hallway, my third grade teacher had bought a refrigerator, and the box it came in, cut it in half and put it around my desk. So even in the hallway, I could not see anyone to talk to them. That is how much I could not shut up. Like, I was not just in the hallway. There was half of a refrigerator box, a cardboard box around me. So I could not distract hallway people. True story. Anyways, you guys will like this video. I was in the hallway too. I feel like a lot of people in this chat were hallway people. We could have all been in the hall. We probably were all in the hallway together. Like, smart people were in hallways. Like, my work was done. I had A's. Like, but yeah, I was in the hallway. Yeah, like I have a feeling there's a lot of hallway people in here. Like, I'm not surprised. We could have all been in the hallway together. But you'll like this guy. And that's why I did take a screenshot, because if you want to follow him, like, when you hear him talk, he's pretty smart and interesting. And he's like a military expert. So he's a good person, like, when it comes to military, especially on Ukraine, to listen to this guy.
J.D. Vance and Donald Trump think they have a place to dare lecture a wartime leader, Zelensky, who's protecting the free world. That is absolutely ridiculous and absolutely outrageous. And Donald Trump completely broke himself in front of the whole world, screaming at a reporter at the top of his lungs, what if a bomb drops on you right now? J.D. Vance sitting there lying, spouting Russian propaganda. Absolutely fucking not. Good for Zelensky. See, this is what people need to understand. The number one audience always for Zelensky is his people and his soldiers. He has to keep their morale up. That is their greatest weapon, and he did that today. He showed in front of the biggest country, the most powerful country in the world, he is not going to let anybody fucking attack his country. He's not going to let anybody lie about his soldiers, and he's not going to let anybody fucking lie about the war and walk all over them. He is the spirit in the heart of the beating heart of Ukraine. And here's another thing. He is a human being. He's been through Bucha. He's been through Mariupol. He's been through Izium. He's been through relentless attacks every night. He's seen dead children. He's seen body parts. He's been to countless funerals. He's been working his ass off to midnight and later every single day. There is nothing more you could expect from any human being, and that's what he is, okay? So have some compassion for that man and the shit that he's been through, because there's no more he could have been expected to be done. And all you people that dare question Zelensky and said he should have somehow done something different, you would not be able to stand 5 minutes walking in that man's shoes. So shut.
It's for the guy we had to block 3 times from this live. And that's exactly you. Armchair quarterback showing up in lives talking about words you don't know the definition of. Like, just be quiet and read a book. It's my advice.
Shut the fuck up with that, okay? Respectfully.
Exactly.
You know,
respectfully.
I think what this does, as one positive, is it slips the mask off and it shows what Donald Trump truly is to Europe. Now it's time to step up, and you absolutely could. Europe, the EU, Japan, some other countries, South Korea, I mean, they have plenty of money to absolutely decimate and crush Russia economically and to help Ukraine to finish the job militarily. And I know that's what they're going to do. God bless Ukraine. God bless Zelensky. Trump, you're a fucking disgrace, and the whole world saw it. And you know what? Your shit may play good to your fucking crazy-ass MAGA base, 20% of the country, but everybody else saw what you just did, and you absolutely just got broken in front of the world, like I said, politically, and everything bad about you. So, thanks for watching. Everything is going to be good. Ukraine, Europe's going to step up. We can do this, and we fucking will do.
I love that. I love this guy. If you don't follow him, someone asked who he was. Again, this is his profile. Like, this is profile on X. I'm sure he's on other YouTube. Like, it has his YouTube. Just take a screenshot of this. He fought in Ukraine. Like, he's an American military soldier, former trial lawyer. Like, he's very intelligent. His name is Hiss Goes Cobra on. I'm sure that's a military thing I don't understand, so that's why I didn't say it. But just take a screenshot of this, and you can't see his name. Yeah, you can. Just take a screenshot of this. And just so in case you guys don't know, if everything looks small right now, from your perspective, you just screenshot it and then you use your fingers on your phone and enlarge it, and then you can see it bigger, right? So like even if it looks to you in the moment like you can't see it, just screenshot it and then enlarge it with your fingers. I promise you'll be able to. But here, just because I'm feeling extra like we all just need to be nice today. Oh, he is. See, he's on Blue Sky. Lessons with I know I used to work in I used to work for a pre-IPO social media company because of my non-disclosure agreement and the nature of which I left the company. I'm not even allowed to say their name, but I worked in the tech industry pre-IPO to post-IPO, and I stick with me and you'll learn how to use your cell phone. But yeah, so he's on Blue Sky. But again, if people are always like, why are you on X? It sucks because this is where longer form videos can be. Like he can't post this. I guess he could post it in like many clips, but Blue Sky, I mean, it's going to get better and better. Eventually we will all migrate over to Blue Sky, but also I have to keep an eye on the crazies. How am I going to keep an eye on the crazies if I'm not on X? But yeah, I hate being there. It's awful. Every second is awful. Is this the last thing I have over here? God, I have so many things I needed to show you guys today too. I'm wondering how much more I should show you, or like here's our options. Yes, again, it's at Hisco's Cobra. His name here. I'll put it in the chat again. Hisco's Cobra. It's Friday. I'm feeling a little crazy. I had a long week. I was attacked by a dog. I've had the weirdest couple weeks of my life. Anyways, so I'm thinking maybe I'll do another live. I have so many things I want to show you guys. I want to show you guys one. I think I need to just show you guys a couple more things. I want to show you guys this Robert Reich. See, I'm still saying his name wrong. Reich. His name is Reich, and even though I've learned that now, I still continue to say it like it's spelled. I want to show you this one Robert Reich video, and if you're new and you don't know who Robert Reich is or why I'm talking about him, like he's my god, it's because he is. He's a former labor lawyer. Labor lawyer. No, that's not right. He's the former labor secretary for Bill Clinton, who's basically a Republican. He is a genius. He's an economist. He is now a professor of economics at UC Berkeley. And it is fascinating. Like Elmo has started attacking Robert Reich. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Like Elmo's trying to weirdly discredit him, and at the same time is using the Clinton administration, a lot of what Robert Reich was responsible for, right? Like, if you don't know, the Clinton administration actually did not in any way what Doge is doing, right? They actually did end a lot of real waste, fraud, and abuse. There is waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. We can always run it more efficiently. We need to up computers. We need to update computer systems, create more security. We can always do have third-party consulting firms tell us if a job is redundant, right? The waste, fraud, and abuse is in military contracts, right? It's in the Pentagon. It's just the waste, fraud, and abuse that's being rooted out by Elmo is not real waste, fraud, and abuse. I actually this morning was going to do a whole thing on Robert Reich, and I'm still going to do it because it's too good. If you even just look at Robert Reich's social media, he's just a force to, he's he is a teacher. He's a professor, but also an economist and a genius who's just pumping out amazing content 24 hours a day. So I was going to just be it's Robert Reich Day. We're all going to learn so many interesting things. But then Trump decided to embarrass our entire country and I had to pivot. So I feel like we should watch at least one video. And then I talked to Pickles. I just texted Pickles and he's like, if I want to debate, we we can. So then we can all just go to Pickles Live and hang out for a while, because I feel like we were in a car accident today. Do you know? I feel like Trump had us all in like a head-on collision, and like it's about all I can mentally handle today.
Elon Musk and I don't really get along. He was talking about me. But believe it or not, we may actually agree on something. Let me explain. The new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE for short, claims it will cut $2 trillion worth of what it thinks is waste and fraud in the government budget. Is there waste and fraud? Could the government be more efficient and work better? Musk and DOGE may have a point. But what's often considered waste and fraud depends on whether one is looking downward or upward. And the billionaire Doges look only downward. In fact, the biggest waste and fraud is found at the highest rungs. Musk, of course, won't recommend eliminating tax loopholes, which resulted in the government losing out on at least $1.8 trillion worth of tax revenue in 2023 alone. That's because most tax loopholes, the carried interest loophole that reduces taxes for equity and hedge fund manager. Competition. And Musk, of course, won't recommend that Republicans halt their plans to extend Trump's tax cuts, which will add at least $5 trillion to the deficit and predominantly benefit billionaires like him. That's more than twice the amount Doge wants to cut in, quote, wasteful government spending, if you're keeping track. Instead, Musk wants to cut the government agencies that protect you by enforcing antitrust laws, labor laws, workplace safety laws, environmental protections, and guardrails against financial fraud. And because there's no other place to find anything close to the $2 trillion he's promising to cut from the federal budget, I expect Musk and Doge will turn to cutting Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, which comprise roughly 45% of the entire federal budget. Now, Elon and Doge won't listen to a miniature wanker like me, but I want to arm you with the truth. As Doge takes shape, you're going to hear a lot about how we can't afford to fund government agencies or programs that help millions of people. That's rubbish. As I just pointed out, there are ways to save the government $2 trillion without cutting critical programs that most Americans rely on. If we instead cut the fat that Musk and his fellow billionaires rely on. The fundamental issue that Musk and Doge are failing to address isn't the size of the government or how efficient it is, but who our government is for. Should it work mainly for big corporations and billionaires, or for the rest of us?
I love this man. We worship him. If you're just meeting Robert Reich, and again, it's spelled like Reich, like Third Reich, which is icky, but he pronounces it Reich. It only took us 6 months to figure that out through many debates of how we pronounce his name. He's also on TikTok, and it's at RB Reich, but Reich is spelled like Reich, like REICH. I put it in the comments. You can scroll up and find it. He is amazing, and is another person that will keep you saying, I play his videos all the time. He's helping educate us, but like every lie you hear spewed on Fox, this guy debunks 24 hours a day. He calls it inequality media, right? Like he basically just is fighting for the average person and like educating people on all of the lies about tax loopholes for the rich and just everything you could think of that gaslights you, like every bit of propaganda that tells you, oh, maybe it's fine. Like maybe the wealth will trickle down, all of that. It's like his life goal. Oh, Tanya, thank you. I was going to say that today. He is on Substack, and I was actually going to go through. I'll probably do this on Monday, or maybe I'll do an extra live this weekend. Robert Reich is on Substack, and it's good stuff. Let me find his Substack name, because I was going to go through one of his Substack articles, and we are supposed to be boycotting. He's pushing the boycott. He wrote an article on his Substack about it. I'm pulling it up right now to tell you guys. He's just Robert Reich on Substack. So just his name. You can just look him up, and he writes awesome stuff. But I mean, he is blowing up. He's gotten 1 million followers. I mean, well, I'm just talking about on X, but he's now on he's doing media appearances everywhere. This man is in high demand and being attacked by Elmo. So, he's doing a great job of annoying the S out of. But then also at the same time, Elmo's look, the Clinton administration cut waste, fraud, abuse. Yeah, that was him. But they did it in a completely different way that benefited the middle and lower class, right? And he wrote a Substack article about it, actually, that I was reading and I was going to recommend today. But I just don't have the emotional energy because Trump makes me want to bang my head against a wall over and over. So I think that what we should do is we should raid Pickles. I'm going to go debate with Pickles for a little bit. He said we should all come on over and raid him. At Pickles GGS, if you don't know who he is, and we can argue with some MAGA people and have an interesting Friday, because I really just can't. After what I saw Trump do today, I just have to check out. So thank you guys so much. If you want to watch any of the replays, again, link in my bio, join the Discord. All of the links to all these clips and more, the clips we didn't get to, are in the outline in the bio. Wait, I feel like I had one more thing to say. Yeah, the replays are available on YouTube, which is also A Girl Has No Name. So if you ever want to rewatch or you miss an episode of the People's Receipts, you can watch there. And again, we're going to go over to Pickles Life. I didn't say one more. You more than you know, and I appreciate you, Lisa, for a little bit and try to let our nervous systems relax a bit, or I'll go into fight or flight and scream at MAGA. We should have invited that guy that keeps coming back in here, and then he could have told us about what confirmation bias is. God, we should have just directed him there. Next time someone annoys us in this live, let's just give them Pickles a TikTok handle and be like, he does debates and we'll meet you there and I will embarrass you there, but you can't stay here. That's the new thing. Yeah, we're almost 500,000 likes. We could tap the screen to 500K. We could do that. That is a thing, but I kind of don't have the pay. I think I have to go pee really bad. That's the truth. I would say let's do that, but I have to go pee. So I'm going to go pee and then video Pickles Live in a couple of minutes. I love you guys. Glad we get to spend Friday together. I'll see you with Pickles. Tell him I'll be there in a couple of minutes.